The content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you.
What's good, everybody? You know who I am, man. I'm GG, man, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers, man. And before I get things started, man, I want to give a shout out to all my haters. How y'all doing, man? I hope y'all having a good evening, man. Peace to y'all, man. And if you haven't done so already, man, make sure you hit the like button, man. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, man, and hit the bell notification button so you can stay abreast of what's going on here on the Green Gorilla channel. And, as I always do, I want to give a shout out to all the members of the Green Gorilla channel before I proceed to the main appetite, man, the main meal, the main course here. So, let me give a shout out to Ricky Dawson, Rais Moajid, Michael Ross, Alan Wiley, The Face, Lee Ways, Mantis on Break, Electrician 480, and Lord Hamal. Big up. Big up to Life of Commerce, Apex Prowler, Julius Ferguson, Truth 7360, J. Cleveland Green, J. Dabino Advocate, Herbert Lewis, D. Scott, Marvin Evans, and Lotus Eater. Big up. Big up to Roguish Son, Brotherly Love 215, L. Fry, Timothy Blewett, Jeffrey Speed, Marvin Battle Jr., Mark Hope, Pete Rock, John J., and the IDP Expressions. Big up. Big up to Afro Troop TV, Adam, Tahuti, BGS Ibmore, Ignatz Mouse, Brian Peaks, Papa Dida, Scott Haywood, Black Uru, and Dr. Tree, man. Big up. Big up to Leroy Honeycutt, Broken Blade, Supertech, 77 Bass X, Brian McMurray, K-Ron S, Anthony Davis, Artisan MC, Damon Brown, Donnell 360, and Seven Coast Dojo. Big up. Big up to Pulpit 28, Charles Rogers, Rick Ross, Sandra Jean, Charles Gilmore, Patricia Colley, Greg, Barry Little, Mr. Valentino, and Jason Hales. Big up. Big up to Black Men Being Brutally Honest, Cameron 87, Doc LaRock, Jay Charles, Mark Swift, Odd Collar, Donald Watts, hiphop.catv, Coach DC, and Old Soul Chief. Big up. Big up to Mr. Blue Collar, Barnolas, I'm Just Jules, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Mr. Heat, Sir Anthony, ML Law, and Universal 178. Big up. Big up to Rasheed Barnes, Aaron Smith, DH, C Truth the Revelator, Gold Professor, Aaron Infinite, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Kalanja Kala, Hostile ADEP, and WPR1, man. Big up to all y'all, and I can't forget my brother in heaven, Force Windu. Big up! And on the Patreon side, man, I want to give a shout out to the people who support me there, man. So big up to the I'm the Light of My Father, Waffle Weave, Lamont Latimer, William Joyner, Rufus Winfield, Dornell Smith, Excalibur, Jason Warren, Anu 219, Pursuer Prisoner, Taz, Dragon 59, Jay Bailey, Mr. Michi, and the Sangwa. Big up to all y'all, man. Y'all deserve a round of applause, man. You know, I know I haven't been here lately, man. I've been, doing some other things, but man, I'm gonna make it a point to be here more often. But big up to y'all and thank you for your support, man, and sticking in there with me, man, when you thought I was AWOL. Appreciate that, man. And if you're considering being a member of the Green Gorilla channel and want to support the channel, here's how you do it, man. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. The place where black men can express themselves freely. Straight up, no chaser. Today I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, y'all, I'm back. And I want to give a big up to 2 people who hit me up. Big up to Barry Little, man. Thank you so much, man, for posting what you post in the chat here, man. Thank you so much, man, for putting in that work, dog. Big up to you, bro. Big up to you, bro. Peace. And also, I want to give a shout out to Stuart D. Knight, author. Appreciate that, man. Big up to you, man. Big up to you, sir. Appreciate that, man. Straight up. For real, man. Appreciate that. So, look, I know I'm not the first person to cover this or to have a discussion about, this matter or this issue, but I haven't given my perspective on it. I know Dr. Tiasan Johnson covered it. I know the brother from Black Men Being Brutally Honest, Kevin, he did a show about it. But, I want to give my opinion about this. But before I give my opinion, I think it would be fitting to actually go over what Shaq actually said. And then I want to contextualize it with research that we have about Black boys and their upward mobility in American society. And I think it's important to do that because if we don't understand the context in which our values are carried out or in which they're played out, we can't assess whether or not we have the right or the wrong values to begin with, and whether our values are actually practical and they make sense. Okay? So that's what I want to do. So the first thing I want to do is go over what Shaq said. So what did he say? Right? So let's look at that. Take a gander at it. And in order to look at it, I'm not going to play the clip. He was recently on the Pivot podcast. That's where the comment was made. Okay? And so here we had an article. It's written by a woman named Georgia Slater, People Magazine. Okay? People.com, whatever. And the title of the article is Shaquille O'Neal on why his daughters can stay home as long as they want, but sons got to move out at 18. And the subtitle of the article is Shaquille O'Neal says his daughters can take their time. They can take their time and live at home while his sons got to go when they turn 18. They got to kick rocks. They got to get it out the mud. But his daughters can take the time. But his sons got to go and they got to get it out the mud. Those are the facts. Okay? That's what he said now. And he's not the only person who thinks this way. He's not the only Black man in America who thinks like this in relation to his children, his progeny, and the kind of support that they can expect to receive, from their fathers. He's not the only one that thinks like this. Okay? So, Shaquille O'Neal basically is explaining or revealing why he'll let his daughters live at home for far longer than his sons. So on Tuesday's episode of the Pivot podcast, the former NBA star, who's 50, shares that his 3 daughters can stay as long as they want while his 3 sons got to go. They got to get it out the mud. O'Neal and his ex-wife, Shawnee, share 4 kids together, Sharif, Amira, Shakir, and Miara. While Shawnee has a son, Miles, from a previous relationship, and O'Neal has a daughter, Tahira, with his former girlfriend, Arnetta Yardborough. Okay? And then he goes on to say, and this is a direct quote from Shaquille on the podcast, "I like my girls a little bit better," O'Neal admits, "because as a man, you have to protect, provide, and love your woman." Now, peep that now. "I like my girls a little bit better because as a man, you have to protect, provide, and love your woman." Man, I really don't want to say too much at the outset, but come on, bro. I mean, you got to think. What are your sons thinking when they hear this? Are they supposed to hear this? Is this something you're supposed to, let your sons know that, like, okay, well, I like my daughters better, so I'm going to make sure that they have all the nurturance and time that, they need in order to get their shit together. But my boys, they got to get their shit together right now. Soon as they hit a certain age, they got to have it all fucking figured out and have it all together. My girls can take the time, but my sons can get it all together because, you know, we got to protect, provide, and love your woman. You got to protect, provide, and love your woman. Now, his daughters are not his fucking woman. That's the first thing. Your daughter is not your woman, bro. So I don't know what loving your woman has got to do with your fucking kids, but, you know, it is what it is, man. But he's not the only person who thinks like this in Black America. He's not the only guy who thinks like this. So don't single him out and say, oh, well, this is just Shaq. No, he's not the only individual who has this kind of sentiment. Okay? He's not. Then he goes on to say, I trust them more, and he's referring to his girls, because they're more sensitive. They're more caring, and they're thinkers. He adds of his daughters. You know how boys are, my boys. You bring something in front of them, and they're gone. Now, what does this mean? I mean, you know, women are more sensitive. This is all stereotypical, of course. So girls are more sensitive. They care. They're better carers or caregivers, and they're better thinkers. I mean, think about all of this. All of these are stereotypes about how girls are as opposed to how boys are. So boys don't have feelings. Boys don't care about shit. And boys don't think about shit. Particularly black boys, right? I mean, this is what he's saying. And he's not the only person who thinks like this. I tell my boys, when y'all get 18, y'all all got to go. Girls can stay as long as they want, he continues. Asked if the former athlete was sincere in his response, O'Neal replies, I'm dead serious. The girls can stay as long as y'all want. Take your time. Go to college. Get your master's. Get your doctorate. I'll pay for it. Take your time, he says. But his boys, they just got to go. They got to get the fuck out. They got to leave. Then it goes on to talk about when he divorced from Shawnee in 07, where he filed for divorce from Shawnee in 07 before they reconciled for a little while. But then 2 years later, Shawnee filed for divorce of separation and got, or sought at least, sole custody of their children. And the father of six was known for his toughness on the NBA court, but as a father, O'Neal found a different side of himself. Being a dad helped me to become more likable. You know how it is in sports. When I lose, I'm tearing my house up. I'm pissed. I'm breaking everything. But as soon as you have the kids, as soon as you open that door, all that has to go away. Well, that should have been gone from the jump, to be perfectly honest. But, you know, so that's the end of the article. Not very long, okay? Not long at all. But here's the rub, and here's what I want you to, to see. And here's what I want you to understand. And I want to contextualize it with research. Okay? That's what I would like to do. Okay? So this article is written by an individual by the name of Jerry Large. He's a staff columnist there at the Seattle Times. Okay? And the article is basically entitled, Upward Mobility is Especially Tough for Black Boys in the U.S. Here's Why. And he's basically writing an article about a study. I would, go directly to the study, but I don't want to go through all of that. I want to keep it simple and plain because, I'll give you a link to the study so you can look at it, peruse it yourself. But the article says upward mobility is especially tough for black boys. Here's why. And the subtitle is a new study, Race and Economic Opportunity in the U.S. is more powerful than some previous work because it examines what hinders or helps mobility, not just in the moment, but across generations. And it's more difficult for black boys than it is for black girls. But you still got to get your ass out of my house. You got to go get it out of the mud when you turn 18, which, let's just be perfectly honest, man. I understand that, at 18, you're legally supposed to be classified as an adult. But I can guarantee you most boys, don't matter if they black, white, red, brown, doesn't matter. They're not fully developed into manhood at the age of 18. The goddamn prefrontal cortex ain't even all the way fully developed yet. And girls develop biologically more quickly than boys do. That's a fact. Okay? But anyway, the article basically says you and I want every child to have a good chance to do well in life, and we know that always doesn't happen. The better we understand why, the more we as a community will be able to improve the odds of success for all children. I want to walk through some key results of a new study of the factors that hold some children back. In 1940, about 92% of American children grew up to earn more than their parents. That's important, bruh. So in the middle of the 20th century, most children grew up earning more than their parents did. And he says there are a lot of ways to measure success, but earnings provide hard data that's easily measured. The percentage declined over the decades, and since 1985, it has hovered around 50%, a coin flip, except the outcomes are a result of more than chance. They are not random. The new study, Race and Economic Opportunity in the United States, is more powerful than some previous work because it examines what hinders or helps mobility, not just in the moment, but across generations. When you compare families, even ones of similar wealth, education, family structure, and neighborhood, there are still differences by race. Outcomes rise with improvements in those factors, but at every level, race matters. Race matters. It found that Hispanic Americans are moving up across generations, but Black Americans and American Indians are not. The gap between them and white Americans persists, just as the earnings gap between men and women persists. Now, I don't know why he had to throw that in, but he did. Okay, now we've gone over the wage gap or the earnings gap between men and women ad nauseum here in this space. So, men typically tend to work longer hours. They typically tend to take on jobs that have higher payouts. They study in school or at university disciplines or, fields that'll generate a higher income over the course of a lifetime. But we're not going to get into all of the, the intricacies of that. Okay. But he says further, people have lots of ideas about why those gaps exist, but most of them are wrong. And this study adds evidence of that. The study comes from the Equality of Opportunity Project and was the work of researchers from Stanford and Harvard universities and the U.S. Census Bureau. So this is not some bullshit ass study by one individual at some backwater ass university with no acclaim. This is research developed by Stanford and Harvard professors. And not to say that they're the best of the best, but I mean, the association with those names so-called implies excellence or at least rigor in the substance of the research being done. Okay. So they looked at decades of data on millions of children with a particular focus on the earnings of people in their mid-30s and the status of their parents when the 30-somethings were children. The Hispanic rates of upward income mobility are slightly below those of whites across generations. Asians, of course, have much higher levels of upward mobility than other groups. But Asian children whose parents were born in the U.S. had rates similar to white folks. So when when they come over here as immigrants, they have higher levels of upward mobility. The same with Africans and other people who come over here. But most of these people who are immigrants are already, in a higher classes to begin with, mostly. Okay. But American Indian and black children are much less likely to rise and much more likely to move downward from where their parents started. The black-white gap is almost entirely driven by the difference in outcomes for what? For who? Men. For men. This is important. Black women do as well as white women raised in the same economic level, and sometimes even better. And here's a quote. Black children are more likely to grow up in single-parent households with less wealth and parents with lower levels of education, the report acknowledges. But the gap existed when researchers compared black and white men who grew up in similar circumstances. In single-parent or two-parent homes, wealthy or poor, the gap was still there. So it does, even if you come from a same kind of condition or circumstance in terms of wealth and class, you're still more likely to be less upwardly mobile if you're a black man or an American Indian man. I guess that's what it implies, right? So whether a father is present didn't seem to affect outcomes for black girls or white boys. But black boys fared better if they lived in a neighborhood where most black fathers were present. Regardless of whether their own father was present, suggesting role models in the community mattered. Now, I don't like that shit. Personally, I don't like that. Your uncle shouldn't be your fucking daddy. Your daddy should be your daddy. But we all know some of the reasons why, black fathers aren't present in homes. Because you got strong black women who feel they can fucking do it by themselves. But the fact is, the outcomes are dismal for boys. It's not optimal for black boys. It's dismal for black boys. Basically, there's a parentheses, an economic opportunity in a neighborhood and more fathers present tend to go together. So the more you have fathers present, and the more economic opportunity, that kind of relationship goes hand in hand. They're reciprocal. And then he goes on to say something. My father wasn't present, but my Uncle Will provided a strong role model for me and my brothers. And our mother was always a disciplinarian, guardian, angel, and provider. Our neighborhood wasn't known for its success stories, but we did okay. And this is the issue, though. This is an apology not to offend. This is statements utilized in order to not draw any negative attention to black women. That's all that shit is. Okay? Anyway, he goes on to say fewer than 5% of black children grow up in the kinds of neighborhoods that foster upward mobility. Fewer than 5%. I see Marcus, he gonna check in a second. Fewer than 5% of black children grow up in the kind of neighborhoods that foster upward mobility. Low poverty neighborhoods where most fathers are present. About 63% of white children grow up in such neighborhoods. So that's an advantage, man. That's off the bat, that's an advantage, man. Culturally situationally, circumstantially. They already got a leg up. Shout out to the electrician 480. Big up to him. Thank you for the donation, sir. Appreciate that. I'm gonna bring Marcus in. What's up, Marcus? How you doing, bro?
What's going on, man?
What's happening? What's happening? Now, before we begin to, have our dialogue, I want to, I want to get through all this, okay?
No doubt.
So let me, I'm getting back to it, all right? So anyway, that's bleak, but the report found some hope for reducing the gaps. Black men who grow up in census tracts with less racial bias among whites earn more and are less likely to be incarcerated. I don't even know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. In cities, I guess, that are less racially biased, I guess, like places where people are more liberal in their attitudes or whatever the case may be. The report identified a few approaches that could reduce the gaps. Mentoring black boys. Can somebody say my brother's keeper? Which the black films came out and fucking rejected on the grounds that it was fucking unconstitutional, unjust, unfair to the girls or whatever the case may be. Reducing racial bias among whites, which I don't know how the fuck you do that. How is that going to ever happen? Reducing discrimination in criminal justice systems. I don't know how you're going to do that either. And increasing interaction across racial groups. Like, how do you achieve that? How do you do that? I don't know how that's possible. Like, how do you do that? Like, the onus is on white people to all of a sudden become nice and to like niggas now? Like, how is that possible, bruh? And I know I'm being like very callous in the way that I'm talking about this, but like, that's fucking ridiculous to me. Or we can begin to stem the tide on, the downward mobility of black boys by, reducing discrimination in the criminal justice system. You mean the same criminal justice system that basically makes certain that damn near 250 black people were killed by police violence in the streets and shit? You mean reducing racial bias among white folks in a society, man, that historically is racist as fuck? You mean reducing discrimination in the criminal justice system that not too long ago had more black men in prison than women in prison in the entire fucking world? I'm just saying, I guess we can begin to try to attack that too, or whatever the case may be. But it seems to me that the father component in terms of correlation, to the effect has a higher impact than even all of this other stuff. Anyway, he says those are hard things to do effectively, but the payoff would be transformative for individual lives and for the country. Having a clearer look at what's behind the gaps improves the chances that work can be accomplished. And shout out to J.H. Booth, man. Thank you for the donation, my brother. Appreciate that. And see, it ain't a lot of people here for this discussion. Got about 117 people, But I'm just saying, bro. If it's the case, now I want to contextualize Shaq's statements with the social reality of black boys. Black boys are doing worse off. They're less upwardly mobile, even if they come from environments where their parents are at the similar levels to white folks in terms of, wealth or, income earnings or whatever the case may be, or education or class. But why is it that black men feel that they need to coddle their fucking girls and provide hardly any support at all for their sons? Why is this, man? Why do black men have this mentality? And before you speak, Marcus, what's odd about this is even in the same podcast where Shaquille O'Neal mentioned these things, he made reference to the Kennedy family and how his sons will get support, but they have to achieve certain things before they receive the support. They need to get the degrees and things like this. They need to become educated and do well in school. But I mean, fuck, how can they do well in school without your support after 18? How the fuck do they do that? Like, so either he's lying or just virtue signaling, or either he's making it more difficult for people who have it more difficult to begin with. A demographic that has a difficult time at being upwardly mobile to begin with. Maybe there's just some sort of cognitive dissonance here. Maybe there's just, like people who don't know better because they don't have the right information. Or maybe it's just because we have this kind of cultural value that's predicated upon anachronistic ideals and axioms. But anyway, man, what say you, Marcus, man? Because I know yesterday you told me, you said that when you got 18, it was time for you to kick rocks. Time for you to get out. Time for you to leave. What happened, man?
So this thing that where you talking about, boys do worse when they're in the same house. I mean, we've been talking about this stuff forever. Like Shaq didn't, like, when you're saying, well, why do black men look at it this way? This is black culture. Shaq is just a product of black culture. The funny thing is, he himself is a product of a man who invested in him, right? A man who's not his biological father. You can't expect Shaq to know the facts that we know, like the stuff that we're talking about here. I mean, it'd be nice if he knew. When I say can't expect, not that we shouldn't want him to know or be concerned, but Shaq, I doubt very much, he's someone who reads the info and the outcomes and the data and all of these things that we do, right? He's just another black man in black culture, who was told by women around him and women in the environment how to think and feel. And what I realized, lately, I mean, more so lately, is that we got a lot of black men, right, who have swallowed whole everything that we've all learned in white supremacy. Like, we've all learned these things. We don't value black men at all. We don't, like, including black men. Black men look at black men the way everybody else looks at black men.
Hey, you said a lot right there, bro. You said a mouthful right there, dude.
There's this idea that we're lazy, good for nothing, dudes that gotta be pushed and this and that and third, and or we gotta be put through struggle to build our character and all this nonsense. Everybody else, gets handouts and they get help and things like that, but the bootstrap thing applies to black men. You got to get it out the mud. We need to see you sweat. We need to see you bleed. We're still slaves, right? We're still slaves for everyone. We are here to serve people. Nobody is here to serve us at all. We have to build ourselves up. And then after we do that, we owe everybody. We owe it to everybody. We owe them a life. We got to protect. We got to provide with things that nobody reached out a hand to help us get or help us build or help us achieve. You understand what I'm saying? It's like you fall in the ocean and you save yourself from drowning, and now you got to save everyone else from drowning. And these are people who you know they would not do the same for you. You know it, but for some reason, through this, this social program and this social engineering, black men believe that this is what they're here for. They really believe it.
I mean, well, apparently he believes it, but I mean, okay, so you're saying that basically he shouldn't have, or he probably doesn't have access to the information that we have access to.
Everybody has access.
But he probably doesn't actually contain or have the information.
I don't think he
at
has
his disposal.
Inclination
but here's the deal. Here's why I have a problem with that, right? Not what you're saying, but like a problem with him not having the information. First of all, motherfucking Shaq got a PhD in education, bro. Now, I don't know if it was like, some sort of fucking honorary shit, like, he kind of did it and people were kind of jocking him and, basically promoting him socially, but I don't think that's what he is. Shaq is not stupid. He might, be big and, he might. I don't want to fall into the stereotypes that black men are stupid, okay?
It's not about black men. I mean, I would say that he probably falls under the stereotype that athletes are stupid. The thing is, when you look at Shaq, he's a big behemoth. He's kind of goofy, and he got this big voice, yeah, man. I'm Shaq, and all of those things. You put all those things together, and you might reach a conclusion that this guy might not be very bright, not because he's a black man, but for those reasons, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, shit, there's doctors who got bad health, right? I understand what you're saying. The thing is, he could have a degree in education, but then be ignorant to these sorts of things, right? Our culture, we push black women to be educated. We push black women to be independent, successful, and this, that, and the other. And we look down upon those same things for black men. We look down upon them. We shame them. We demonize them. But at the same time, these are the same men who you want to kick back the earnings or the income or the resources that they acquire from said education and success and et cetera, et cetera. Like they don't want it for black men unconsciously. So
but I mean, we talking about his sons though. Like I can understand like saying, okay, I don't care what the next man has. I mean, not to say that I really actually can understand that either, but it's more understandable to say, okay, well, fuck what Mark is doing. I got to do me. Than to say, fuck my son.
Culture's powerful, man. We see black women sell out their sons to, the little chick with the baby that ain't his and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a sisterhood that is a driving force even over some of these women's sons. If we already know, like, the numbers of male children that get abused, killed by their own mothers, right? And it happens more often. So we can sit here and say, well, it shouldn't happen to a man shouldn't do this to his own male children, but he's indoctrinated with the same culture that everyone else is. So I get what you're saying. It should not be that way, but culture is powerful and culture drives the masses more so than the outliers.
But here's the thing that's funny to me. Thank you, Cameron. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate the donation, brother. Look here, man. He made a reference to the Kennedy family, right? Now, do you think a white man is going to say about his son, they got to get the fuck out as soon as they turn 18? They got to get the fuck out.
No, see, this is the thing.
I'm just saying, like, I'm just keeping it 100, right? Do you think Donald Trump daddy told his son, Donald, you got to get the fuck out as soon as you turn 18?
Hey, No, I mean, we could sit here, we could point out the George W. Bushes, the Donald Trumps, and all the other white male examples of the prodigal son, loser, can't get right son that white men had, that they gave them chance after chance after chance after chance to get right, even to the point where, like, you these dudes, straight nepotism got them where they were. We wouldn't have a Kennedy presidency without his father. We wouldn't have a W. Bush presidency without his father. You wouldn't have a Donald Trump real estate empire without his father. These men created their sons. These sons did not get it out the mud. They did not. These buffoons who we know, I mean, we know this. We know this about these guys. Of course, there's no get out when you're 18. There's, you're gonna do everything I say, and you're gonna win. They make them win.
And
They
that's the
create 'em.
point. That's the
Yeah.
point. They create winners, and not to say that
Out of
there aren't,
losers.
and
Out
not
of
to say that
losers.
there aren't any downwardly mobile white guys, because I'm sure that there are. Okay, not saying that there aren't any. Okay, but just think about the kind of power that Shaq has based on his earnings and based on his notoriety and the connections and networks that he has. So you mean to tell me that you're going to allow your daughters to basically have all the time that they need in order to develop the mindset, to develop, the capacity to take advantage of those networks. But your sons, they just got to figure it out fucking soon as they turn 18. Like that's a magical, date at which they're supposed to have this like awareness and understanding. But the thing that's even more perplexing to me is that he's already said that his sons really don't have it together as much as his girls do.
And you know,
However, even though they don't have it, like you already know the axiom where they say, to each as they need from those who have, or some bullshit like that. Like, I mean, especially when it comes to your kids. Now, maybe societally you don't want to do something like that. But as it pertains to charity with your family, because charity begins at home. So your family, you should know who needs the most support and the most help. And not predicated upon a gender or a value system about how girls deserve protection and provision. Now, your wife deserves, I guess, in a throwback culture, going back to where? Victorian England? That might be the case. But we dealing with like second, third, fourth wave feminist culture, where women are like, I'm fucking gonna do it on my own. I want to do just as much as a man. I don't want to be pedestalized. I want to be treated equally. But then you come in with the whole chivalry shit, and you expect all of this Horatio Alger shit for your sons. This is the problem I have, man. This is the issue I got. And to me, it doesn't make any sense. And this is a person who's, educated. He's got a terminal degree. So what the hell is going on in the mentality of black men and guys who think this way?
Well, it's normalized, man. Like, this is the thing, bro. Like, it doesn't have to make sense, right? I mean, once upon a time, black people sat at the back of the bus, right? Now, somebody had a problem with that eventually, but just think about how long black people sat at the back of the bus and it was normal. And you just got on the bus and you went to the back and nobody protested because it was normal. It didn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. It's normal. Like, we are in a culture where there's a lot more than this that doesn't make sense, but it's normal. Nobody questions it. What are you doing? Oh, you going to cause a stir and you going, shake shit up, because you don't want to be the person that's not doing what the other lemmings are doing. So when he says what he says, again, to him, it makes sense because other people said it and he's seen it done, right? it makes, we put our caps on backwards because we seen other people do it. It's normal, right? So I hear you. It doesn't make sense to me either. But when you say it, you get patted on the back, you get applauded, you get likes, you get all of this stuff. So to you, you're quote unquote doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing, and it makes sense to everybody. It makes sense to you. The earth is flat, and everyone else says it's flat, and they're right, and you're right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is.
Yeah. So, but at any rate, man, I got another guest, man. I want to bring him in. He came in yesterday. Keep it brief, Samir, though.
Yeah.
What's cracking? Talk to me, man.
Not to sound redundant, y'all 100% right. And even to use the Kennedy comparison, those were people that was on assignment. Like they had assignments from birth, and they was groomed to basically fit certain roles that was expected upon them. You know what I'm saying? So if these young men that you are raising is not up to par, I mean, you're a millionaire, you're around businessmen. So, you know what I mean? What is it in you that's underdeveloping, these men? And it's very acceptable. I mean, it was just like when Barack Obama, at Morehouse lecturing Morehouse men about pulling themselves up, pulling their pants up, and taking care of their responsibilities as fathers. You're not in a halfway house talking to men that's about to be released from some youth facility. You're talking to Morehouse men in this manner. So again, like you guys have basically stated, it's accepted, it's normal, and also as black men, we've basically normalized this. And again, what you said, you get reinforced with pats on the back by the dominant society and other black people that don't really have the context, you know what I'm saying, as it relates to the plight of black men. And it's just going to be just a revolving cycle.
But peep the game, though. Okay, just imagine that. And welcome, Yoga. What's cracking with you, man? How you doing?
What's going on? What's going on, PhD?
What's going on, dog? Look, imagine Joseph Kennedy telling John or Bobby, y'all got to get the fuck out of here. Like all the connections I got, those are my fucking connections. You got to go out there and get your own fucking connections. Soon as you turn 18, you got to get the fuck out of my house. I have never heard, I'm not going to say that white guys don't say shit like this because I'm pretty sure that there's something to do. Okay? To me, it's ignorant as hell. To be quite honest, it's fucking ignorant. So a kid magically at a specific age is just supposed to become wise and knowledgeable, right? And to, be just thoroughly removed from adolescence. They're supposed to just be, right on the ball right from the start. Able to, do what you did. Like, I mean, Shakir, I'm not saying that his sons might not do some of the things he did on their own, on their own auspices or from their own efforts. It could be. But why would you put that terrible condition on your son? Now, I can see if you got a lazy ass son who's not appreciative, who has no career goals. They just want to sit in the house, get pissed off and talk back and say ignorant shit to you when you try to get them motivated, to get in the groove and to basically be able to take over your dynasty. I can see if your kids are just like absolutely, backwards and lethargic and indolent. I can understand that, okay? If the child is ungrateful. But God damn it, if you got a cool relationship with your child, a son, and he 18, now it's time for this dude to just know how to do all this shit. Like Shaq did all that shit himself at 18. Like his mama wasn't there, or his stepdaddy wasn't there, helping him all along the way. That's the shit I'm talking about. Like, why do black teenagers who are boys have to undergo all of this rigorous bullshit in order to figure it out? Like, why do they got to figure it out?
So I'm going to say something profound to you, G. In our culture, black culture, right? The difference between our culture and these white guys' culture is that in white culture, the failure of your sons is a negative reflection of you as a father, right? I'm gonna say this again because I want people to hear it. When your son fails
It's a
in
reflection
white
of you.
culture, you failed as a father. Other men are looking at you and they're looking at the failure of your sons as your failure. The difference between that and us is in our culture, people look at the failure of your daughters as a bad reflection of you as a father or you as parents, period. The failure of our women, our daughters, is a reflection of the failure of our culture or our community, because white men do everything possible. It's not even about like how we're framing it, like we're saying, well, how are they supposed to know? It ain't even about that. You got white boys that are dumb as hell, that they get propped up and put in positions that they shouldn't even be in because they father have to make them successful for them not to look bad. And so that, hey, look, Junior, you're going to run the family business. You're going to be successful. I don't care what you, that's why you got white boys that run away from their families, rich families, because they trying to get away and do their own thing because they're being forced into whether it be the family business or the legacy or whatever. They don't want no part of it because the success of your sons in white patriarchy is a reflection of you as a father, as a patriarch. If your sons fail, then you fail. And that's not how black culture is set up. Period.
But okay, I want everybody to respond to this comment here. So check this comment out. Look, he says, "I've been here before you." I don't know who this is. It looked like a Grace Jones motherfucker, some Afro-futuristic shit on the on the icon or whatever. But what Shaq do with his kids for his and his alone?
Can I respond, Doc, first?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. We have to realize, well, I'm here in Atlanta right now. We have to realize Shaquille O'Neal is Shaquille O'Neal because of white Jews. They own the media, they own the NBA. And he been sought after from them from high school because of his size and his athletic ability. This is the same man that we've seen wear a dress and a wig and did it for saying he being funny. We've seen it, Shaq do this in the movies. So from what was he showing his sons and showing our sons and us, as I was a little boy at the time, seeing Shaq and the Kazam and the different movies, and then we were like, oh, he got on a dress and a wig with the tennis shoes like Larry Johnson, like Grandmama. Y'all remember that? So now he's publicly coming again and saying something again. And it's almost like the equivalent of him putting on that dress and that wig that he did back in the 90s in the movies, saying, oh, yeah, my son's got to be gone at 18. Now, this is something that you see when you look at that Michael Jordan thing that Michael Jordan did. Michael Jordan's mother came and stayed with him. Why? Because Michael Jordan was 20, in his 20s, wasn't married. He was playing for the Bulls. And that's what kept Jordan from going another way, and his career stayed on path. His parents, and specifically his dad, said he wanted his mother to come stay with him his first year on the Bulls, and so came and helped Jordan. We see that a lot, and like the docs pointed out with the Kennedys, all the people that go to Harvard, they families send them to Harvard so they can take over something. And then we look at all these different companies. These companies are family owned. So I think directly, Shaq is a puppet, and we give him false respect. He's a celebrity, an entertainer, athlete, and they're making these athletes and entertainers say certain things in their podcast, say certain things on their social media, so it looks like it's natural. Now, those are talking points that Shaquille O'Neal has been given and to put out, and to have the black community to be like, yeah, and have mothers and all the single mothers already struggling financially, then they in their houses and their projects looking at their son like, yeah, when you get, as soon as you hit 18, you out of here because I ain't getting a check for you no more, and you're another mouth to feed. So I feel like that Shaq is a 100% coon. That's it.
Yeah,
And,
if I
and,
Well,
and
well, well
that's to the
let me
question
respond.
also.
So look. The point is not whether or not Shaq has the right to reject giving his children. Like he doesn't. He has the right not to give his children a fucking copper red cent. That's not the conversation that we're having here. We're having a conversation about Shaq saying, "I'm going to give my girls preference. They're going to have time to develop into womanhood, but my sons got to be full-fledged fucking men by 18. They got to get the fuck out. They got to get it out of the mud. But my girls, they don't have to get it out of the mud." And all of this is in the context of research, which demonstrates that black boys are downwardly mobile in general. Now, I don't know who you are. I personally don't give a fuck who you are, but we already know. That goes without saying. Anybody could say anything or do anything in relation to their children. Like I could say, fuck my own children. I have 2 girls. Okay? I'm not going to say, okay, well, you know, whatever I have, fuck you. You got to do it on your own. You just got to do it on your own. Unless they disrespectful, then they got to do it on their own. But if your kids, man, are 18 and I already got this pre-established viewpoint that they don't need help, even though this person received help in grooming and networked himself, he received nurturance himself. His stepfather was there for him, advising him, being involved with him. And not to say that Shaq is not going to be involved with it, you know, his sons. I'm not saying that he even really actually said that. But he is saying they got to get out. That's what he said. And then he said he was dead serious about it.
You know what? Can I ask something?
And at the end of the day, look, I'm not giving an excuse to that bullshit. To me, that is some matriarchal bullshit. It's gynocratic bullshit. And I don't know if you know what this space is, but this space is a masculinist space. This is the manosphere. And I don't reject it, and I'm not trying to leave it because it's toxic, because I am a toxic motherfucker. Point blank, period. And I'm a hood nigga. At the same time. And you can do whatever you want to with your children. But if we're talking about justice, if we're talking about fairness, if we're talking about what's pragmatic, if we're talking about what makes sense in the context of the social reality in which we live, then what sense does it make to say I'm gonna throw my son out to the wolves, but my daughter, she can just kick her fucking feet up and take her time? What sense does it make? Huh?
Again,
And then if you got a kid, and then here's another thing. The guy says, if I got a kid that's stupid, then you're gonna give your kid that's stupid more time, right? You're gonna do more for the kid if you got a kid that has special needs, for example. But you're gonna kick that motherfucker out? What if your kid has autism? Fuck him, huh? Fuck that kid. He's stupid. He got to figure it out at 18 with his autistic ass. I don't give a fuck if he lying underneath the bridge. I don't care if he slit his own fucking throat. See, the point is, at the end of the day, and let me go back to the data. For all you coons and dummies out there. So that everybody can see it for what it is. The research demonstrates. And let me go to it so that people can see it. I'm certain you can see this now. Okay? Extensive data shows punishing reach of racism for black boys. And let me make the screen big so you can see it larger, because it's really small the way I'm showing it right now. Okay? Black boys raised in America, even in the wealthiest families and living in some of the most well-to-do neighborhoods, still earn less in adulthood than white boys with similar backgrounds, according to a sweeping new study that traced the lives of millions of children. White boys who grow up rich are more likely to remain that way. Black boys raised at the top, however, are more likely to become poor than to stay wealthy in their own adult households.
Yeah, that info been out for a while.
Even when children grow up next to each other with parents who earn similar incomes, black boys fare worse than white boys in 99% of America. And the gaps only worsen.
You there, bro? Your sound went down. G. Okay, so I'm gonna carry this on. G, your sound is not coming through. As I was saying before, these things that we're seeing have everything to do with, we view black men to have a defect. We're not looking at them as human. We're not looking at them, as people who are dealing with not only this refusal to for society to give them help, but also there are things being taken away from the advancement of black boys, and then we're looking at the outcomes and we're blaming black men because we've always learned to do that. We are indoctrinated with this idea that black men are defective.
Okay, can you hear me now? Am I back on deck?
I can hear you now.
You can hear me now? Yeah, for some reason, GarageBand on my computer just decided to arbitrarily close on its own. So sorry about that. Technical difficulty. Okay? But I mean, I don't know where I left off, but the whole point is, even when you got kids that's growing up next to each other with parents who have similar outcomes, black boys fare worse. Okay? Black boys do worse off. Even if they come from these so-called wealthy families, they're more likely to be poor than white boys. In 99% of America. That's damn near all of America, right? So you got these researchers at Stanford and Harvard and at the Census Bureau who basically says the income inequality between blacks and whites is driven entirely by what is happening among these boys. It's about what's happening to the boys. It's about what's happening to the boys. And basically, but we have a whole bunch of propaganda out here that's not even based on research. It's just based upon ideology and narratives developed by second wave feminists and carried on by third and fourth wave feminists who basically argue that women are doing worse off than men. But when you look at the data and you compare apples with apples and oranges with oranges, you'll see that the demographic who's doing worse off is not really actually, and the people who are really the benchmark for the wealth gap are black boys. But as soon as you start trying to offer help or even suggesting that black boys should be helped, it's always a fucking excuse for why not to do it. But then a lot of these motherfuckers claim to be pro-black. But you niggas don't even understand what blackness is and what the fuck is happening with race in America. But they pro-black. This is the shit that fucks me up about niggas. These niggas so smart, they stupid. They don't read shit, they don't learn shit, they don't know shit, but they gonna tell you what it is.
They don't care, bro. They don't care.
And it fucks me up, man. I mean, every time it fucks me up, bro. And we already know that you can do whatever. You can be a sleazebag to your kid. You could be a fucking goddamn pedophile to your kid. Anybody can do anything they want to do. Now, they might be punished for what they want to do. Like, if you got some money, you don't have to pass on shit to your kid. We already know that, bruh. But we're talking about racial trends. We're talking about demographic sociology and what is actually creating the wealth disparity between blacks and whites. And it's happening almost exclusively and driven entirely by what's happening to fucking black boys. And then you got coons who come into the chat and want to talk stupid shit about what a nigga can and what he can't do. We know what a nigga can and what he can't do. We talking about what the nigga ought to do, what the nigga should do. This is what we talking about. We ain't talking about what a motherfucker can do, what he got the right to do. We talking about what a motherfucker ought to do if he wants to be pragmatic and putting an end to the fucking wealth gap. But some coons don't understand this shit. They can't think beyond their fucking superficial ideals. So I'm trying to tell you, this is Harvard and Stanford research that's demonstrating that black boys are at a disadvantage. And then you got fucking goddamn guys, black men in particular, who are like, well, I gotta provide, protect for the girls. Even though they doing better off. And they don't need the extra help. As soon as you say black boys need extra help, the first thing motherfuckers start doing is talking about some alpha bullshit or some Horatio Alger bullshit.
Right.
Which is bullshit. We all know how wealth got gained in America. It got gained through fucking colonization and slavery. That's how the vast majority of wealth in the United States was amassed, and how the Western fucking world actually gained, their so-called affluence. I'm just saying.
It's not what they want, bro. They don't care about that.
Then you got some of these dudes, the black men, that claim to be part of the black manosphere. This dispute is bullshit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it fucks me up. And I'm quite frankly, man, I'm tired of coon shit. Because what you're thinking about has no basis in data or research. It's not empirically based at all. It's just based on your ideas of what patriarchy really is. But you don't even know what the fuck patriarchy really fucking is.
The average person doesn't think like this.
No, not at all.
The average person doesn't think like this. They understand this, bro. If you've learned in our culture, you've learned all your life the black man is the enemy. When you see stuff like this, when you see, like you're saying, you're looking at this data, and you're looking at these statistics that tell you black men aren't doing well, you either going to stand in one or two places. Either you're going to feel like they deserve it, or they are defective. It's one or the other. Either something is wrong with black boys. It's not society doing it to them. Stop blaming society. This is my aunt. I had a debate with my aunt when I was in New York this past trip to New York. And she even said it herself. She said, black boys are defective.
Wow.
This is what she said, bro, out of her mouth. They see, I said, because we had this exact conversation. Now, my aunt that sat in the back seat, she agreed with me. I said, how is it that black boys who live in the same house with their sisters, we see a pattern of illiteracy and bad outcomes, right? Bad outcomes, a pattern. Oh, she couldn't blame the parents. She had to blame the boys. Huge numbers. To my 12% literacy rate, right? 12%. So that means the rest of the boys are just defective. I said, so you're saying they're born with a defect?
So it's inherent.
Yes. So what I'm saying to you is, let me just end it off here. If your culture teaches you, because you think about Shaq, and we're in this toxic masculinity thing where things that are inherent to boys are bad, and sugar and spice and everything's nice. Parents will have similar attitudes about their children, and gender wise. They're going to look at their girls, and everything that their girls do is cute and cuddly and nice, and everything that their boys do is bad and destructive and toxic, right? So and we've seen studies with this, right? And they're going to look at their children's their educational futures and outcomes from a negative point of view. So that carries over. They don't want these boys to win. Oh, you got to go out and do it yourself, because their failure doesn't reflect on them. When they make fun of Biden, they make fun of his son. They make fun of all these white men's children. They make fun of their children as a reflection. Like they make fun of Trump's son, because the failures of white men's children, not even just their boys, but their girls too, but especially their sons, is a reflection of them as a failure as a father. That does not exist in the Black community. Actually, it's the other way around, right? So there's no pressure on Shaq to make his son successful. There's no pressure. There's no cultural pressure for Shaq to make his sons successful. And look at how we look at LeVar Ball. Look at how we look at LeVar Ball. We demonize that man. Anybody who is doing the opposite of what Shaq is doing, if you're the wrong complexion, you are demonized, because there's no cultural pressure to make your son successful when you're Black. It's actually the opposite. What are you doing for your daughters? When you give Black men money, Black students money, you do anything for Black men in America, you're looked at as the bad guy, because why are you helping the bad guys? Beyonce's mother with her documentary. Oh, we got to boycott that. You can't do anything to help Black men, Tashina Arnold. You can't do anything to promote positive images or outcomes for Black men and boys. And that's the culture we live in. It's never going to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. They just believe it, like flat earth, period.
But the most perplexing. Hold on, wait a minute before you speak. I'm gonna let you have the floor in a minute. But look, the most perplexing shit about all of this, right? Thing about all of this is that in the end, the so-called women who want these fucking successful men don't have access to any of them, because they never fucking developed in the first goddamn place.
Because they were told they're defective. That's the explanation. They're defective. And look, they're supposed to, if they don't get it out the mud, they're defective. That's the culture. The culture is men. You got privilege. You're privileged because you're a man. You have male privilege. Make it work. And if you don't make it work, you're a bum. You're defective. You're a loser.
Now peep this shit now. Peep it now. This is the paragraph that's key to me. According to this so-called study, right, by researchers at Stanford and Harvard and the Census Bureau, income inequality between Blacks and whites. It didn't say Black women or Black men. All Blacks and whites is driven entirely by what is happening to Black boys and the men they become. Do you understand that shit? See, the many of you niggas don't give a fuck about that. You don't give a fuck. And apparently, it's like even Black women who don't give a fuck, and they think they're magical because they really actually don't care to carry on or have to deal with the burden of the brunt of racism. I've been over this shit like I don't know how many times. And I'm sorry if I'm tired of talking in graduated terminology and I'm starting to curse. Because it's fucking ridiculous, man. All you got to do is look back through the pages of history and look at genocide, conquest, slavery, colonialization, whatever the fuck it is, you'll see. The men are the ones who basically are fucking taken out. They're the first ones to get taken out. And the first ones to be, basically exterminated or marginalized as much as possible. So basically, Black male marginalization is the reason why Black women are able to even fucking say that they magical. The non-development of Black boys is Black girl magic, bruh. That's what the fuck it is. Now you can like it or you can hate it, But that's just the fucking reality. That's all I'm hearing. Black girl magic is a black male curse. You're not affected by racism in the same way that we are. You on the novice level on the video game. We walking around on the real level. Expert level. Any mistake or mishap can result in your fucking death. Or a downward trajectory or a spiral you can't get out of. If a motherfucker super glue a toupee on his head and he fucking shit get in his eyes, is motherfuckers gonna cash after the motherfucker $20,000, $30,000? But some Negro woman can put some super glue in her fucking head and everybody gonna feel, well, I love the women. This is fucking ridiculous to me. So at the end of the day, bro, all I'm saying is what the study is saying. This is based on empirical data taken over generations. Okay? And it basically says Stanford and Harvard professors and the Census Bureau basically are saying the income inequality between blacks and whites is mostly driven entirely by what's happening to black boys. Though black girls and women face deep inequality on many measures, black and white girls from families with comparable earnings attain similar individual incomes as fucking adults. Now, when black women start to realize this shit, like, and I've been saying, what happens to your sons has an impact on what happens to the fucking entire community. But for some reason, we seem to think that we can fucking use identity politics as a way to get out of fucking racism. It's stupid. It's fucking dumb. It's been dumb from the outset. But anybody that says this shit is somehow considered to be a fucking misogynist.
Black women's the most unprotected.
This is fucking ridiculous. Like, how long do we have to go down this fucking trajectory? Then you got coons who say, well, you know, he can do what the fuck he want to his children. He can fuck them up the ass for all I care.
They're right.
Fuck out of here, man. We talking about how you really actually remedy what's going on in the black community. And look, I'm willing to say if anybody in the black community is on some bullshit, we can call it out, whether it's black males or black females. I'm an equal opportunity motherfucking goddamn caller outer.
Intersectionality.
It don't matter to me. If any one of us is fucking up, all of us is fucked up. Motherfuckers think this shit ain't a team sport. It ain't got, just imagine a woman saying her own fucking man, her son child is a fucking defect. What kind of strange cognitive fucking process and pathology do you have to adopt to think that about your own fucking children?
Get down with the patriarchy.
Yeah.
What type of shit is this? I'm trying to draw out the bigger picture and give you access to information so you can understand the context in which people say the shit that they say. But you Negroes don't give a fuck about that. You come with your motherfucking superficial prima facie knee-jerk reaction bullshit, and I'm trying to draw out these inferences based on empirical data.
Feelings over facts.
It pisses me the fuck off, man. Harley Branch, what's cracking, man?
Hey, what's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, man, I can hear you.
All right. I just wanted to comment real quick. I think you and Marcus are on point, man. It's so sad that I was a kid that I'm dyslexic, right? Nobody gave me a chance. But I had to work at it. And the thing about it is that God bless her soul. My mother, my aunts who were in education, they gave up on me because I had a hard time reading, but I stuck at it. But they don't understand why when I bring up points like what you all are bringing up to them, they looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, oh, you can't say that. Oh, you can't say that bad about black women, or you guys just something wrong with you all. You don't put in the effort, and when you don't put the effort in with your sons, okay, this is the kind of results you get. But let's thank God I had a father who pushed me. He's like, nah, son, you gonna make it. You gonna do it. I'll be damned if you he's sitting there flipping burgers at 40 or 50 years old. So, I just wanted to say that, man. And y'all keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna fall back and I'm gonna let y'all keep going.
Okay, well, ultimately, what this fucking study is basically pointing out is that the income inequality and the wealth inequality, the wealth gap between blacks and whites, is basically about black men. This is why people in the manosphere, when they make reference to like shit like the Moynihan report, even though it might be based on racist scholarship or some assumptions about black men not being able to muster up the right stuff in order to be successful, it's the same shit. It's like, can we look at the ecology and the circumstances that black boys and men are dealing with in contradistinction to other members of the black community? And to say that they need a different kind of program, that the program that we have right now ain't working for us.
No, sir.
What the fuck is the use of trying to pussyfoot about this? I'm tired of trying to fucking skirt around it to preserve feelings and shit. Fuck all these feelings, man.
Feelings don't get you nowhere, bro. Feelings don't get you nowhere.
I'm sick and tired of all these motherfuckers talking about you can't say this, you can't say that. That's offensive to us. Fuck you. This hurt in the long run. This shit hurting you worse than your fucking feelings. I'd rather your feelings be hurt in the short term than us to keep going on with this stupid bullshit and we be stuck in the same goddamn place 50, 100 years from now.
Facts. That's right.
Motherfuckers say they want niggas making 100,000, but they don't want to put the fucking goddamn resources and the effort and the energy into developing the very same motherfuckers that they making demands on. This is the stupidest shit in the world to me, man. It's fucking dumb. I'm just tired of stupidity. And I'm tired of motherfuckers being scared because I love the women's. Fuck all that, man. I love them too. I love my daughters. What the fuck? This ain't about love, man. This is about common fucking sense, research, falsification, as opposed to moral values based upon anachronistic ideas developed by white motherfuckers in the fucking the 19th century, bruh.
The black woman is God.
Yeah, I know I'm yelling, man, but this shit got me pissed off, man.
Listen, my brother.
Look, GG, will you listen, man? Listen. The first time I heard you and Marcus, this is the same subject you all had. The first time I heard you is about when your mama think you dumb. If you recall that show, man, that was heavy. And it's this. Even you going over the same things. It's the same things.
But you got to be repetitive. You know what I'm saying? Because you got new people coming in. And then also you got people who never got it the first time they fucking heard it. And then you got people who need it reinforced. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I've been backing off the manosphere to some degree. Because you always got fucking idiots to come in. And, they say shit that don't even have anything to do with the fucking conversation we have.
Your mama black.
But you get what I'm saying, man. Like, look, at the end of the day, bruh, we already know anybody can do what the fuck they want to do in relation to their chick. You can prefer your fucking girls over your boys. We know you can do that. We know you have the capacity to do that. But at the end of the day, the question is, if you actually give a fuck about black people collectively over the long haul, we ain't talking about right now who getting some attention right now, who's in front of the fucking TV screen right now, who's in front of the magazine covers right now, who got all this fucking, the notoriety right now. We talking about the well-being of a collective of people over centuries, man. And are we using the right kind of research methodology in order to make that happen, to facilitate that happening? That's what we're having a conversation about. And to me, I'm looking at the comments that this guy's making, and it's all based upon this fucking manhood idea, this fucking ridiculous to begin with, that even white guys, the fucking patriarchs, who fucking raped, pillaged, and plundered their way to affluence, they don't even do this shit.
No, they don't. They do is what Marcus just said. They says, "Nah, son, I don't give a damn. You are going to get this." That's what they do. But
And if their sons fail, they allow them to fucking fail. And to get at it again. And to get at it again. And to get at it again. The first thing we do is we cast the motherfucker out there like you on your own. Like a motherfucker, you know, like a damn like reptile hatched from an egg. It's your life.
White men fail up. They fail up. Okay?
Wow.
George W. Bush failed upwards. Trump failed upwards. If they fail, they get another stipend from the family or from whoever, sometimes even from the city or the state or the government through connections. You know, they get the angel investors and all of that, and they're made to go at it again. They're made to.
But this is
pressure
deeper.
from the pressure from their fathers. They're made to go. You better go at it again.
You even got white women, man, who are raising their sons to be fucking lions. Who are raising their white ass sons to run shit. Grooming their white ass sons to run shit. But then when it come to us, you don't want no man who's too strong, got too much money, doing too much this or too much that, because that gonna make you take a back old seat. You want to be in the front seat. We want you to be in the front seat. So you can stay here forever. You don't have to go nowhere else.
The water ain't cold enough, silly.
I'm just saying this shit is fucking backwards to me.
It is.
And I ain't saying favor boys over girls. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying that, look, black girls have needs, black boys have needs, and the needs, all this gender fluidity shit got people fucked up and thinking that you treat people exactly the same, then that's somehow fairness.
Bitch, I said the goddamn water ain't cold enough. Bitch.
Black boys have different sets of needs, educationally, developmentally, familially. They have a different set of needs than fucking girls. But we have this fucking culture, this gynocentric. So we can't do anything for boys. And now, you know, these white feminists have come in and made it to where if you do anything for boys at all, even if the data demonstrates these boys are fucking hemorrhaging, can't do shit for them at all without doing something for the girls. Or you can't do shit for them, but you can do a whole bunch of shit for girls without doing shit for a nigga. You can give them bank loans. You can give them fucking positions and all kind of shit. Give them money from the government, stipends and shit. You can do all. You can give them cheese, WIC, Section 8. You can do all this shit for them. But you better not do shit for that nigga. Even though they gave them white boys the Homestead Act, the fucking GI Bill, FHA loans, all kind of shit. They gave them boys the fucking farming subsidies. They give them a whole bunch of shit. Ain't none of these white boys turn that shit down. Oh, I can't take that down. I'm not going to live my racial altar story. You see them turning that shit down? They went right to it.
Shit locked in government.
Now you got niggas literally saying we don't need reparations. We'll fucking blow the check. Niggas will fuck it up. Niggas don't need no houses. Niggas need to stay in the projects.
That's not American black men at large. I'm not saying none of them are American black men, but mostly that's not American black men. I'll just leave it at that.
But there are some people I've heard say that shit.
Nah,
I've heard some black women say it.
I have my own family members said that. I don't want them to get no check. They're going to embarrass me. I had my
They're going to buy a pink Cadillac. They're going to get some hair weave. They're going to be wearing Jordans and shit.
They should have never gave y'all niggas money.
Hey, if I could say something and I'm out the way, like about the comment that the dude that you put up on the screen, it's kind of like, you can't really pick and choose when the media is influential and when they not. You know what I mean? That's what I got out of that. You can't pick and choose. Shaq saying something means something.
At the end of the day, put it this way. If you don't have kids, you don't understand that they have different personalities. And if they have different personalities, it don't matter if they male or female. They have different fucking personalities. Some sons do better in school than the girls do. Mm-hmm. But the general data demonstrates that boys are hemorrhaging. And primarily, it's based upon fatherlessness.
My mother did everything she could to make my sister do better in school than me. And it didn't work.
But the issue is, even if you balling out of control, you a high value man and you got a son. That motherfucker's more likely to become poor than your daughter. That's the point, man. And so the study, like again, it's based on anonymous earnings and demographic data for damn near all Americans now in their late 30s. And it debunks a number of other widely held hypotheses about income inequality. Gaps persisted even when black and white boys grew up in families with the same income, similar family structures, similar educational levels, and even similar levels of accumulated wealth. The disparities that remain also can't be explained by differences in cognitive ability. That's the defective argument, an argument made by people who cite racial gaps in test scores that appear for both black boys and girls. If such inherent differences existed by race, you've got to explain to me why these putative ability differences aren't handicapping women. A more likely possibility, the author suggested, that test scores don't accurately measure the abilities of black kids in the first place. I was tested as a motherfucker as a kid, but I did well on the test. Mm-hmm. They made me fucking skip a grade, which was stupid, because then I got in the grade, these big-ass kids wanted to beat my ass. What, you think you smart, motherfucker? They smoking weed in 5th grade. I'm like, God damn, what the fuck is wrong with you niggas?
The only problem I got with the context of these things that we're talking about is we tend to talk about these things as if they're happening and the people who are denying that they're happening are unaware. This is deliberate. Okay. Like when you talk about, the outcomes or the negative outcomes of black men and boys, we talk about it like, why don't they fix this? It's deliberate. This is the objective and the outcome that they want. It is working. This thing is doing what it's supposed to do. It's doing what it's supposed to do. You don't break the fixed machine. Your ice machine is not putting out ice. Well, I don't want ice, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You want ice. This thing is doing what it's supposed to do.
So it says that is a path-breaking finding, said William Julius Wilson. I skipped a few paragraphs because I ain't gonna go over all this shit, but a Harvard sociologist whose books have chronicled the economic struggles of black men. They're not talking about the direct effect of a boy's own parents' marital status. They're talking about the presence of fathers in a given census tract. Other fathers in the community can provide boys with role models and mentors. I don't like that shit. Because really, to be perfectly honest, I find it fucked up, man, that we don't have fathers directly involved in the lives of black boys to fucking begin with. And yeah, mothers, they have to be there, like BGS says. They have to be cheering us on. But what happens when your mother doesn't cheer you on? It doesn't provide you any fucking support. And then thinks when you make it, you're supposed to treat her like your fucking wife. Why do you have to treat your mother like your wife? I gotta buy her a house. Gotta take her out the hood. You gotta make sure she's great. I was watching I decided to watch the New Edition fucking series with, the little actors redoing their songs and shit. And yeah, all these black women in Boston who was the mothers of these little boys and shit. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. We need projects. We need boys gonna get paid so we can move out the projects.
Gary Coleman.
We're supposed to move you out the projects? And I said this shit yesterday. How many white boys do you continuously see talking about I got my mother out the trailer park?
Continuously? I don't know one.
And the social expectation be there that that's what their fucking duty is.
Oedipusy complex.
I'm just asking, man. And look, I know I might sound ignorant because I'm cursing. Because I'm fed up with stupid shit. Like black folks can't get it together, man. Black folks are caught up right now in an ideological, identity political narrative created by a bunch of white motherfuckers, man.
If you're gonna speak to ignorant people, speak the language, bro. Speak the language. This is if you're addressing ignorance, speak the language. Don't be embarrassed to speak the language. Because you know, I know the language.
I'm just pissed off, man. You know, like at some point you say to yourself, okay, when the motherfuckers gonna get it? This ain't about me trying to get more than you or trying to look better than you.
They get it.
This ain't about who can get the most attention. This is about how to fucking heal a complex problem holistically. Not in a piecemeal fashion predicated upon some narrative drawn up by bourgeois white bitches. Which is what it is, man. It's been that way for I don't know how many fucking decades. They keep talking about the wage gap and all this shit. And it's a certain kind of white woman that talks this shit.
You're a cisgendered.
But all the while, man, I know some of these white bitches, man, they got husbands at the crib, dog, that talk this shit. Even at the university, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
I was working with a Mexican lady, man. This woman told me, man, she said my husband don't work, got the fancy job like I got. He be at home with the kids more than I do. But when I fucking get the money, I take it home to him and he take care of the shit. Now imagine that shit happening in our community. Man, one day I fucking added a fucking channel to a cable bill. The bitch I was with at the time started fucking having a fucking conniption about me adding some shit to the fucking cable bill. I said, bitch, if you don't leave me with this stupid ass shit,
I said,
get the fuck
bitch.
out of my face with this dumb ass shit.
I said, bitch, look, bitch. Check this out, bitch. Look here.
If you don't get from in front of me with this stupid ass shit, I'm trying to improve the quality of our fucking lives. And you bitching about a fucking cable bill. It's the stupid shit that, you know, like Negroes had to go through. And it's only because everybody feels like we can be a whipping boy. This is why Tashina Arnold said, what can we do to stop trying to emasculate black men? The first thing I had on my list was ensure that black fathers have access to their fucking kids. And stop trying to make fucking husband sons out of your goddamn boys, man. If you want a husband, you want a motherfucker to get your ass out the hood, motherfucker, go do what you know you need to do in order to make that happen with a man. Don't expect for your son to do that shit. And if you're a father, pay some extra special attention to your sons because they're going to need it more than your girls.
Church.
They're going to need more attention. They're going to need more counseling and development than your fucking girls. This is just what the data is telling us.
They don't look at it that way. They look at men as defective. That's what this data is telling them. Think about this. All this stuff is interpretive, right? It's interpretive. They're looking at this like, y'all motherfuckers is losers. Look at what this is saying. That mean y'all losing.
That means all. Look, let me. If for any of these niggas that think that, let me go back to look, we can talk about what moral values we have and all this shit. And we can talk about ideology until we blue in the face. But the reality is, if you don't uplift black men, everybody is fucked up in the black community, man. True. It's just that fucking simple. It don't take a genius to see this shit. If you don't fucking start attending to black males' needs, the whole fucking community is sick.
Bro, a mistake repeated is a decision, and this is the objective. A mistake repeated is a decision.
But the strange thing is, motherfuckers was saying this shit in the 60s and the 70s, but niggas scared of these black motherfucking lesbians and shit.
They are scary.
They scared of these black lesbians. Like, fuck them, man.
They scary.
I don't look. I will talk to and engage with any of them. I don't hate them, but motherfucker, you ain't about to intimidate me. The fuck? Like, oh, you can't say that. Like, why not?
She's a man.
What the fuck you scared of, man? I mean, you want to go eat some muff, go eat it. But I'm not gonna sit here and be quiet while you spew a whole bunch of bullshit.
She mad. You try and beat her to the muff. You gonna eat it before she do.
Man, look, bro. Look, I'm just tired of black culture devolving into stupidity in the face of common sense. And then we get typecast as a fucking hate group for telling the truth.
Yeah. Get out.
And I don't have a problem with a man saying I want to take care of my girls, man. Fuck, I want to take care of mine. But God damn it, if I don't have a son, but if I did have a son, that motherfucker would be my shadow. You going where I go. You going to see what I'm doing. You going to learn what I learn. You going to avoid my mistakes. Fuck Jaheim, listen to Too Short.
Bitch.
Stop all the sugar pie honey bun bullshit and start dealing with people as people. Stop looking for a mother and a woman. Cut it out, man. A woman ain't supposed to be there doing the same shit your mother did. I'm gonna kiss the boo-boo, all that shit. Nigga, you gotta be a fucking unit on your own, man.
Hey, mommy, I'm gonna pump the gas for you, mommy.
I just, it's just, at the end of the day, man, look. I know this shit sound harsh. I don't care anymore. I don't give a fuck anymore, man. At the end of the day, we're hemorrhaging. And we're hemorrhaging because we're acting as if. Let me go to this fucking goddamn Bible these bitches wrote, man. Let me go to the Bible they wrote. let me go to the Bible. Because this is the idiocy this fucking got us fucked up. Let me go to their Bible, man.
Still waiting on that goddamn water, silly.
Let me go to the Bible, man. The black lesbian Bible. I hate to say this shit, but I gotta tell the truth, man.
The black lesbian Bible. Uh-oh. Sister. You stay on my mind. Sister.
Marcus, you over there full of, man.
I'm gonna live with you.
So look, man, I don't have a problem with these people, man, having their own politics. But if their politics is utilized in order to prevent the entire group from progressing, that's a fucked up regressive politics. And if it doesn't match up with experience or with data, then you have to falsify theory. You don't fucking confirm it. You got English professors and shit who are the fucking leaders of our political movements and our political ideals. It's fucking stupid. Not sociologists, not fucking goddamn psychiatrists or psychologists, but fucking English professors and shit and philosophers. And I love philosophy. I got a PhD in this shit. But come on, man. That's why I'm a naturalist. I said a long time ago, I wrote a thesis on it. I said to the extent to which philosophy is not tempered by naturalism, meaning a whole host of disciplines, ranging from biology, environmental biology, psychology, environmental psychology, and a whole host of other disciplines, history. If it's not tempered by that, it's just a bunch of bullshit. What you theorize about ought to be tempered by other forms of data accumulation. You can't just reason within a fucking goddamn ideological echo chamber. But that's what we're doing. It's stupid. And I'm tired of seeing black politics be stupid as fuck. Because nobody wants to hurt the feelings of women. It's fucking ridiculous, man. So they can say anything or do anything just because they're them. Like, well, it can be false as a motherfucker. It can be untrue. Well, I'm not going to tell her because, you know, I love the women. What's the stupid, bruh?
The earth is flat, black woman.
So here's the deal. Look, it says, here's their Bible. Number 3, problems in organizing black feminists. This is the Combahee River Collective. We exist as women who are black, who are feminists, each stranded for the moment, working independently because there is not yet an environment in this society remotely congenial to our struggle. Because being at the bottom, so they basically said they're at the bottom. They didn't provide anything other than a fucking categorical philosophical framework developed by white feminists who are utilizing, to be perfectly honest, Aristotelian categories. I know it because I've researched it. I don't really go and say shit like that because I'm not trying to fuck y'all up about shit you don't know. But this is basically Aristotelian categories, kinds, that basically delineate what position you hold in a particular culture based upon those taxonomical classifications. So basically they said, well, we're at the bottom. Why are they at the bottom? Because we black and we women, because women are at the bottom. Blacks are at the bottom. So in terms of the taxonomy, we have to be at the bottom. So nobody ever challenged them on this shit. But, you know, like scholars have begun to challenge them on it.
But they run in circles around us, though.
Look, they say we're going to have to do what no one else has done. We have to fight the world. So now you got black lesbians who got black women in the state of mind that they got to fight the world. Even their own sons. And here it is. Wallace is pessimistic but realistic in her assessment of black feminist position, particularly in her allusion to the nearly classic isolation most of us face. So they isolated. Black women are isolated, man. Like, are you fucking serious, man? We might use our position at the bottom, however, to make a clear leap into revolutionary action. Like, of what kind? Like, Black Lives Matter? Because that's the culmination of this shit. If black women were free, it would mean that everyone else would have to be free, since our freedom would necessitate the destruction of all the systems of oppression. That is complete and utter fucking bullshit.
I said what I said.
I told you a long time ago this is bullshit. The data doesn't substantiate this claim. It falsifies this claim. But we keep going with this fucking philosophical, ideological shit drawn up by people who are not actually engaged in rigorous study of anything. They just promoting propaganda.
Bro, they just make shit up. That's it.
Which is what philosophers do. Make shit up.
Yeah, just making shit up. They're not trying to get the goal that you're going after. They have what they have. Black women will tell the dominant society that they're at the bottom while telling us that they're leaving us in the dust. I said it on a previous cast. They tell white people, oh, what was me? But then to black men and you know, everyone else is ha ha ha.
So at the end of the day, the reason I'm having this discussion, the reason why I even presented it in the first place is to put it in its context. Now, again, I understand. You can do what the fuck you want to with your kids. You can do whatever you want to, bro. You can send them to motherfucking goddamn what? I mean, you know, you can send them to a fucking dunce academy if you want to. You can send them to fucking China. Whatever the fuck you do, you can do whatever you want to do. You can send them to a charter school, public school, private school, Catholic school, Baptist school, whatever. You can do whatever you want to do with your kids. But if you got information about what the unique problems of black boys are, then you shouldn't be uttering statements about, well, you know, fuck my sons, they got to get the fuck out. Especially if you give a fuck about black people as a whole. If you care about black people as a whole, then you can't leave certain segments of black people hemorrhaging. And this is the data. The study basically says, again, for you Negroes who don't fucking read, according to the study, led by researchers at Stanford, Harvard, and the Census Bureau, income inequality between blacks and whites, the whole fucking group, is driven entirely by what is happening to the fucking boys. So if you want to continue to live in some nigga shit, go ahead, man. Go ahead and have your way. But if you want to fucking try to find a way to get out of the shit, look at the data, man. Have an empirically based approach to what it is that you're trying to do politically. That's all I'm saying, man. But you know.
Will you ignorant niggas please shut the hell up? Is this it? This is what I got all those ass whoopings for? I had a dream once. It was a dream that little black boys and little black girls would drink from the river of prosperity, freed from the thirst of oppression. But lo and behold, some 4 decades later, what have I found but a bunch of trifling, shiftless, good-for-nothing niggas?
Damn. We can't even think right. We can't even do research right. We don't give a fuck. Like any group of people that would say that their own sons are fucking defective or don't need help clearly don't fucking understand the nature of the fucking predicament that we're in as a group of people.
That's the excuse to not help them.
But it's self-effacing.
It's self-fulfilling. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what white supremacy has always been.
They want it. This is the way it is meant to be. It is working.
But one thing you can't do is you can't rectify the problem by, you know, just doing some shit like this. You can't rectify this issue by being this nigga here. That's not gonna work, man. That shit right there, putting on the cape and caping and capping, that's not gonna work.
40 water, he was doing his thing.
That ain't gonna work. And having an attitude about black men that's basically resorts to this shit. It's not gonna work. It ain't gonna work. We talked about, like, Rais Morji talked about this shit about women in Sparta and how they reared their sons. Even like, you know, like the Brenda Werner woman who I had a video about not too long ago. Well, maybe a year ago. Where she was like, black fathers need to have uncontrolled access to the lives of their kids and discipline over their kids. Now you got Negroes on Uncle Daddy status, man. You got niggas in the family court system because you want to be the fucking sole controller. You got niggas in the family court system got to spend thousands of dollars to be able to see their own fucking kids. Cause she mad. And for us to even utter it is misogynistic. I'm just tired of the bullshit. That's all, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let y'all speak for a minute, man, because I'm about to get pissed off even more.
Like I said, like I've been saying, it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. Like we're losing it over here. Like, how could they do this? This doesn't make sense. It's all part of the plan.
I mean, the data.
Actions repeated are decisions. The way we approach this is they've made a decision to do this, to affect this outcome. That's how we approach it, as opposed to acting like these outcomes are born out of some mistake or they don't understand, or it's like the guy in the building shooting everybody like, oh, he's mentally ill. Like, I think what black men need to be real and come to the realization that this is being done to us by everyone above. We have no friends. These women are not acting just purely out of ignorance and, oh, if we just tell them and show them the data, then, oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. We should do this. No, they don't want that. We need to deal with the reality that this is the desired outcome and go from there. Get mad at that. Get mad at that.
Well, if look, if that's the truth, then what we have is a slave-based nigger culture, and we're not going to be able to evolve from it. So then it boils down to what you guys talk about. Save yourself. Fuck them. I hate to say that, but I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to, okay, look. If you already know, first of all, you're educated, you study, you understand research and research methodologies, you understand Karl Popper and falsificationism, you understand it, but you still don't give a fuck because it's hurting you in the long run as well. So you want to participate in the practice of anti-black misandry, even your own fathers, your own brothers, your own sons. That's stupid as fuck. It's stupid. I said it before. You got women, man, calling the police on their fucking adolescents, and some of them, if you killing and murdering and shit, by all means call the police. But you got motherfuckers disciplining 8, 9-year-old boys with the police, calling them and shit, leaving them in the garage overnight in sub-zero weather. I'm gonna teach this little nigga a lesson.
They're doing what the overseers did.
Man, we got to get out of this sickness. But right now, I don't see a way out, man. I was talking to my father. He was like, what we gonna do? I say, hey, at this point, man, I'm at a fucking standstill. I don't know what the fuck we gonna do.
I do. SYS. BM. Take your dick and go home. Take your dick and go home. Can't lose if you don't play. Why do we continue? It's like we're fighting for the shit back. Like, it's over. The war is over. Go home.
Is the manosphere?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, can we consider the black manosphere that type of institution to help kind of erode all the forces against us? I mean, including the Institute of Black Male Studies, for example. Brothers are learning out here. You guys are teaching. Brothers are learning. Could that be enough over time to kind of build the wall against the feminist misogynoir soldiers, anti-misogynoir soldiers out here?
Man, you ain't gonna stop them. They got institutional support. So they have
Well,
they have support. You know, they have the academy, but not. I mean, you know, even though some studies are coming out, which kind of, or you know, finally beginning to challenge some of the assumptions that they make in their research. But you know, in terms of you know momentum, we don't have the momentum. And then you got you know motherfucking athletes like Shaq. Fuck my sons. They got to get out when they hit 18. But my daughters, they can stay. They can stay as long as they need. Whatever you need, baby, I got you. I love you. I like you more than I like that nigga.
The thing
Even
is,
though we have evidence that demonstrates that your underdevelopment of your son is going to lead to a fucking tragic outcome for the entirety of the black community.
you think Shaq gives a fuck about that, bro? Like all bullshit aside,
He might not give a fuck about it, but I'm saying he should give a fuck about it.
should. But him and every other simp enforcer like him doesn't care. I forgot who asked the question. Was it Roaring Son or Harley Branch? As far as us talking to, I feel like this space online, right? What I think what we serve to do, especially with the young boys, the ones who you know care to listen, right? Because this thing that we have now, this thing of ours, right, as the Italians say, it didn't exist for us. It didn't exist when we grew up. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have, you know, the tube. We didn't have any of this. If we were lucky, we got to be around some guys who might have put us up on some game. Right now, what we have is a bunch of videos online, men like us, who we don't have to be in the neighborhood. We don't have to be somehow connected to hold on, we don't have to be somehow connected or you know in some sort of family relationship or you know community existence or whatever. All these boys have to do is get on the internet, just like rap did once upon a time, just like hip hop did. These kids are going to launch onto this message. Now I don't know how long this culture shift is going to take to happen, right? But it's just like there was civil right, you know, there was Jim Crow and there was civil rights, and you know, as long as it takes for the simps to die out, right? These young kids, these young boys are gonna hear this stuff. They got it in their phones. It can't even be I mean, you know, it could be censored, it could be, but I doubt it. Like they have access to this stuff. They can get online on their phone. They, you know, they parents. It's like porn. Like we got the porn. We saw the porn when we was kids. Our parents couldn't stop us. We got to the porn. These kids are gonna get to this message. These young boys, and it's gonna vindicate everything that the indoctrinated kids, maybe not, but the ones who are on the fence or the ones who have an issue with this stuff, they're gonna hear us talk and they're gonna be like, finally somebody feels the way that I feel. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew there was something wrong here. It's just like in the slavery days, somebody was like, this ain't right. This ain't supposed to be like this. We supposed to be free. And they're gonna talk, and the word is gonna spread. It's gonna spread. Again, I don't know how long it's gonna take. The old dudes is the old dudes. They done. Forget them. They Vader. They Anakin Skywalker. Fuck them. Right. But the young boys that's coming up, again, there will be a slow culture shift of the next few generations of black men who are going to be like, nah, I ain't with the shits no more. And we got to keep putting this stuff out there to the point where it's everywhere. Yeah. Like hip hop, like everything else in culture. This, what we're doing, will become culture. It will become culture. We got to keep going with it. Just like everything before this became culture. Period. Yeah. It'll be slow. It'd be a slow moving beast, but it'll happen. You'll still have simps. You'll still have all of that, but there will be a larger group of black men who ain't gonna be with it no more.
Yeah.
And you know what's gonna happen? Because these bitches ain't got nowhere to fucking go, they gonna have to deal with it. Because white men ain't changing. They're gonna have nowhere to go. All this take away the welfare and this and that. Listen, man, fuck all that. They have nowhere to go. Look at the stats. Look at dating. Look at all that shit. They have nowhere to go.
But you know what, bro? Look, check peep game. At the end of the day, you know, I'm not gonna stop saying what I got to say because I said a long time ago, I don't need permission to speak. I don't need a permission to say shit. It could be offensive, the whole nine. It should be offensive because nobody has a problem with offending us. That motherfuckers calling us dusties and bullet bags and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, I ain't saying black men ain't said no ignorant shit. They have. But goddamn, like, look, like I said before, man, I want my daughters to be successful. I don't have any sons, but I want my fucking nephews to be successful. I think they need development and tutelage and help. And they need it even more than they fucking sisters need it. Because they sisters have a system in place that's congenial to them and their needs. The system has not been congenial to our needs. So at the end of the day, until we get what we need, we're going to keep speaking. And I don't give a fuck if people like it or not. I don't care if they offended or not. Like I had a group, like I did the show on the swirlers and divestors and shit. Like I got some shit to say about divestors. A whole bunch of motherfucking divestors came in talking about they gonna spray me, the niggas I hang with, spray that. I'm like, bitch, I wish you would come around me with a blicky.
They ain't doing nothing. They ain't doing nothing.
With a stick. The last motherfucker, man, came around me with the blicky, the sticky, got fucking put in the intensive care unit. And I don't give a fuck, man. You had some woman not too long ago shoot another girl, travel behind this motherfucking girl 15 miles, man, and shot her in the fucking face. Black woman shot another black chick. So I wouldn't look, I don't underestimate anybody brandishing a fucking pistol. Shit, I'm like Biggie Smalls. If I go, you got to go. It's just that simple to me. I'm not gonna play games and start, worrying about whether or not she male or female. Fuck all that. You got the blicky, motherfucker. You gonna get blasted. You lesbian or trans or what? I don't give a fuck. But that's crazy. I'm sitting here talking about reality. Like, look, wherever you go, wherever you do, if you fuck a white guy, you're going to have a black kid in America. Still. You're a Negro incubator. Sorry, it is what it is. You can't change it. You can't become more white. It ain't happening. I even tried to do a show reading Frantz Fanon. Showing you this, like, black people are involved in self-abnegation and annihilation of their individuality. You put it in intellectual terms, they don't like it. You put it in nigga terms, they don't like it. What the fuck, man?
Some truth is too harsh, man.
At the end of the day, man, I told, man, like, I remember, man, me and my dudes, man, had to be no more than 19 years old. We came up with a chant. Contacts. Weaves in the back, fake fingernails. What is white? It's not what is right. Stop following the white man's trail. And we just came up with the shit just bullshitting, and some girl was in the house with the weaves in the fingernail. That bitch got like mad as hell. Cause she thought we were talking about her. We didn't even trip off you. Wasn't thinking about you.
Hit dog gonna holler, man.
But the hit dog hollered. At the end of the day, we're involved in acts of self-abnegation, and self-individuation is being annihilated by psychosis. We supposed to be, we was on some black and proud shit. Now we on some dark and lovely shit. I'm like, I'm done, bro. Like this shit is at 2 hours and 14 minutes. I know a brother James just recently came in, you know.
I just got well, Brother Gorilla, first of all, thank you for having this live feed, man. I love your work, and it just keeps me just want to learn more, because, you know, what I find quite strange about Shaq, and I said this to my brother-in-law, is that for him to implement this rule of law with his sons, knowing that they have seen things where socially, economically, that most people will never see, and to hinder them by saying you got to get out by 18, it's weird to me, because most other parts of society would never do that to their males in the first place.
Man, thank the Lord, my mother didn't do that to me, man, and my stepfather didn't do that to me.
Yeah,
I mean, I went to college, man, and when I spent summers in New Orleans, because I went to Xavier University. I spent summers in New Orleans working. I worked as a fucking DJ. I DJ'd. And it was nice pay. I mean, shit, $25 an hour. I'm fucking 19, 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? And it's parties everywhere. Tulane, Loyola, Suno, Delgado, Xavier, Dillard. I'm DJing shit for organizations, Deltas, Qs, Alphas, Zetas. I'm fucking working. I was a lifeguard. I worked at the Fudgery singing nigga songs, selling white chocolate to white people. But I worked. In the summertime, sometimes one summer I went back home and I saw all these niggas. I guess they saw the movie Colors and they was gangbanging and shit. I'm like, what the fuck y'all doing? I left for 2 summers. I come back the 3rd summer, y'all fucking got like khakis and house shoes on and shit.
Nigga songs?
But I think that spills over to what happens when you have a part of black male society that believes in that, the total opposite, right? Where, again, you know, I look at Shaq, I'm like, okay, you know, and I follow their sons, their basketball careers, and to me, they're very talented, they're gifted, right? They do have worth ethic. But what's fascinating to me, and I said this to my brother-in-law, when one of his sons had a heart issue, and Shaq had the ability to provide the best, you know, medical care and all these things, right? That should even, as a father, knowing that your son could have died of that, how does that even implement in your mind to be like, well, just go figure it out, knowing how dangerous this world is towards black men? So that was, to me, it was the most confusing part.
Well, look, you know, all I can say is, you know, I think you're right about this, but I think, you know, for as far as I'm concerned, if you're a black scholar, if you're a black intellectual, and you're playing gender politics in 2022, fuck you. Eat a dick, nigga.
Yeah.
Whether you male or female. I'm saying it succinctly and openly and honestly and candidly. Eat a dick, man.
Yeah.
Because we passed that. Like if you still, well, if we free, everyone else gonna be free, because we would have eliminated every system of oppression. Like, come on, man. First of all, like, I wrote my dissertation. I said, look, man, injustice is protean. It's not static. It's like a jazz song or like a video game or a battlefield. The conditions are always changing. Injustice just doesn't stay the same. Systems are not static. They're dynamic. So if you eliminate one system, it's like a bubble in a carpet. You step on it in one place, it bubbles up somewhere else. Unless you get at the root of it. Unless you move it to the edge of the fucking carpet. We like to step on bubbles and act like we've done something. We like to take, it's like, I was riding a bicycle earlier today, man. I did like about 8-9 miles. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you got hills and shit, like, okay, that was one hill you got over, but fuck, there's like more hills to go over.
Yeah.
Like the hill that we made it past we got in the promise. No, we ain't in the promised land. But some of us, you know, are so cooned out, we don't even know how to continue on the fight. Or we have like these fake ass symbolic fights based upon the shit that we did yesteryear. Like the same tactics and strategies won't work because injustice has changed. It's shifted. But we keep playing by the same rule books and the same playbooks. It ain't working.
Brother Greg, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
So I had a conversation with some sisters who have boys, and one of the things that one of the sisters had continuously brought up, like, oh, I don't want my son. I guess he was having something in regards to a teacher, right? And I remember him describing like, yo, I was just asking a question, and basically the teachers got mad because they just felt like I was challenging their intelligence. That's what he said. And the mother got upset, was like, oh, I don't want no problems. I don't want to hear nothing about these teachers calling me saying you doing this. And then I remember telling her, I was like, well, in my opinion, you are basically emasculating him from an early age. And I said, please don't take offense to it. But when you create this fear dynamic in a male at a young age, as he gets older, he becomes more and more docile to things that are irrelevant. And I wanted your thoughts on, is that, and this is what I assess, but is that actually true? Especially
we'll put it this way. We all, like, BGS said this shit a long time ago, that, you know, like, the American school system is based on the Prussian school system, which was developed in, you know, Prussia is contemporarily is perceived as like Germany. Okay. But it's putting kids in ranks and files. It's a way to make them obedient. Okay. That's what the school system is about. You sit still in ranks and files. You do what you're told. You complete assignments as they're given to you. You don't cause problems. You shut up and do, you know, what the head of the classroom is telling you to do. But you know, like the Prussian school system initially, you had a lot of men in the school system. And you had a lot of, and often educational systems were set up in such a way that boys were separated from girls. Now you got this, everybody's the same, and this gender fluidity, and, you know, boys and girls got the same needs educationally. This shit really is only working for girls, and really actually the school system is training people to be docile anyway. And how to take orders unquestioningly. And how to regurgitate information so that it prepares them to be perfectly honest, it's supposed to be training people for professional life. Like when you go to college, all that shit is doing is training you how to work for another motherfucker for 60, 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
And how to take your productive capacities and creative capacities and make them work in service of a fucking corporation. That's what it's for.
Valid point.
So, I mean, you know, what you're supposed to be doing, you know, when you go, it all depends on what your philosophy of education is.
Okay.
Different school systems have different philosophies on what education is about. But our educational system is based upon and predicated upon the Prussian school system. It is. Even the PhDs, like what I learned in having investigated it tangentially and, you know, my cursory look into it, basically it demonstrates, you know, like even like most of the doctoral degrees that, you know, were attained by people in the United States during the 19th century, they came from Germany. And they brought the German way of doing education to the United States.
Wow.
But, you know, that's, you know, like, yeah, kindergarten is German. It is. That's what, like, think about it. Kindergarten is a fucking German word.
Wow.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a connection there. You know what I'm saying? Why would an Anglo culture basically have, you know, its educational system predicated upon a Western German society?
I got a question.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Is it hard to believe that they don't want the men to win, or especially the black men or the black boys? Like, is that hard? Is that hard? And I'm asking everybody on the panel.
Okay.
right? Because we're discussing this like they are doing this hoping for a different outcome, and we're trying to explain that, hey, this isn't working, we should do it like this. And I want to ask everyone on the panel, is it is it difficult to fathom that they don't want the black boys to improve?
Of course they don't. But you can't have black folks out here talking about they working in the service of justice, and then you don't question them and don't tell them you ain't working in the service of justice. Because the truth be told, like the research here, like the black women in the black Bible for the black lesbians said, if black women are free, everyone else is going to be free. The empirical research that's been done by Harvard professors and Stanford professors demonstrates, like Jerry Springer said, that's a lie.
Yeah, I understand that. What I'm saying is, go ahead.
I do believe that in general, in this society, since the 60s, there's been a concerted effort to roll back the impact of education on boys in general. Like even white boys. That's why you got like this red pill shit, all this men's rights activism shit was started not just by black men, it was started by white men as well. They've been issuing their criticisms of the system as it currently stands.
I definitely agree with that.
It ain't just some Negroes talking about it. This is like a problem all across the culture. It's transcend, but I mean, it has a bigger impact on us because we the canary in the coal mine. And I say, it doesn't have the same kind of impact on them that it has on us. See, they able to survive this. We're getting murdered by this. This is destroying us. And it ain't just destroying black boys, it's destroying black women and the whole black culture as a whole.
They're good with it. The same way that white folks is good with kids getting shot in the schools for their gun rights. Black women and everyone else are cool with this. Understand. It's like the first few conversations me and you had about the prisoner's dilemma and things of that nature. At the end of the day, they'll take all of those things as a casualty of war when it comes to them being able to do what they want to do, to be free, to be, I don't need no man, and all of the things that they're able to wave in our face. Like I said yesterday, to piss black men off, their self-esteem and their ego is derived from taunting black men who they looked at as Mr. from the Color Purple at one point. I understand you're pointing these things out, but again, these are spoken about in the context of, well, if they want it this way, they would do this, and they don't want it that way. They just say they do, because if they said something else, and some of them do say something else, but they can't all say something else the same way white people can't just outright say, hey, we're racist and we're holding you back. They can't say that. So they'll say boys are defective. They'll say, we want y'all to lead and we want you to be high value men, and it's all bullshit, right? Because they can't say the other shit. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is telling your ass he ain't exist.
I get it, bro. I get it. But at the end of the day, though, like, all I do is just say, okay, we can do studies on women and their sense of well-being and their qualitative assessments of their own happiness. These bitches ain't happy.
They'll take their chances, bro.
They not happy either. Like, look, I'm gonna do a study tomorrow. I'm gonna demonstrate to you that, like, but it's gonna be a short show. It'll probably be an hour long, okay? And it's gonna be mostly exegetical, meaning I'm just gonna go over the article and explain, and not have people come in and be in the chat. But ultimately, as women have more freedom, so-called freedom today, right? Their account of their own happiness shows that it's diminishing.
We get it.
And the question is, look, I'm not saying to roll back women's freedoms or whatever they perceive it as. I did a whole show on the provision and protection and how, to me, mostly it's a perversion of history because think about it. Through most of the history of the world, women have had to perform work just like men have had to perform work. And most of the work that was performed was localized and parochial. It wasn't like this industrial revolution is a relatively new phenomenon. This ain't no fucking like ancient shit. Major industrial, economies and shit like that. This is a new phenomenon. And even within the context of this new phenomena, women was working in sweatshops and shit. White European women. I got the pictures in the archive to demonstrate it. So this whole shit about how women need to just be these effete, fainting couch motherfuckers where they, every need is attended to and their every desire and their every material, wish is granted to them. Like, and niggas is trying to live this shit out. That's why I saw like the Future video. I looked at it my worst day. I'm like, I got a problem. I like to just, I see a woman, I got to spoil her. Fuck, man, what type of shit is this?
I don't expect women to make sense, bro.
But niggas ain't making sense.
Yeah, I don't think it's just women, brother. I think it's women.
No,
I think
but
it's
women raised men, though.
No,
that part. That is the part that's the real point right there. Even someone like we were talking about Shaq, of course, like that's something out of the line of a playbook. Like, you got to get out of my house when you're 18. That's something my mother told me. Ironically, when I turned 19, she had to move in with me because she ended up losing stuff. So, I mean, we see this happening, but as to Marcus's point, it does seem like a concerted effort to kind of hold back Black boys specifically. I mean, it is, but in talking to some women, they seem, of course, wholly illogical about it. But I've heard women say some stuff like, we got to put these barriers in your way just so you can prove you can get over them, type of thing. Like, they act like they're not doing harm. Like it's a good thing, but it's not. It's really bad for us. And feminism, I mean, it's kind of bordering on right now, like scientific racism. As a matter of fact, let's just put it there. It is that. And I think they're putting that barrier in our face or in our way to kind of like just say, hey, Black man, you got to show your strength. You got to prove your muster. You got to get over it. I think that's bullshit. And quite frankly, I have nothing to prove to them.
But see, the difference between like my objectives in doing what I do versus like people, like I would never do, not to disrespect the guy. I mean, his platform is blown up. Kevin said, I would never do that shit. I would never have conversations with lay people again and again and again and again about their ideas and their value systems and what they need to change in order to find a partner that they really trying to exploit anyway. Exactly. Like, I would not do that. And the only reason I wouldn't do it is because I told you, like I did a video a long time ago, they got the ring of Gaijis. They have so many motherfucking goddamn systems and policies and institutions that favor them in relation to marriage. It's a fucking losing proposition for you.
Yeah, and we discussed it, me and
you. It's not a winning proposition. It's a losing one. And the reason why it's a losing one is because they can take you to the fucking cleaners. And then they get possession of the kids because of these laws that, come from, white English culture in the fucking the middle of the 18th century. I've gone over this, bro. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you got the guys who are like, well, think about this. White women get pissed off when their husbands cheat, right? They do. Don't say they don't. But think about this. I want you to think about this very clearly, man. And it's just a question I'm posing to you to reflect on. The Negro population is a population that has grown, a hybridized population that is the result of miscegenation. We talked about that yesterday. Do you see these white women, man, complaining about their fucking husbands, their sons, and their brothers fucking these Black women or these Native American women? All throughout any of the time when slavery was in existence?
Not at all.
Do you hear about any of that shit?
Nah.
I want the documents to pop up. I want to see where these white women were like, you know what? I don't want to be with you anymore, Jonathan Smith, because you fucked a nigger.
Well, they had to create laws to protect black women that were killing the offspring of these relationships. They did do that.
But that was a very small percentage, though. When you
No,
look at the overall aspect of,
I ain't talking about the laws against killing babies.
No,
I'm talking about. Did you hear white women complaining? White women writing articles, newspaper articles, journals about how horrid the sexual exploitation of black women were.
I can't claim to have read anything a white woman wrote in that time period. I wasn't talking about making laws against killing babies. I was saying making laws to protect white women from punishment for killing babies in response to these things going on. So
for sure.
Yeah, whether they wrote shit down or not, they were acting upon it, right? So what I'm going to say is this, right? Once again, like we're living in the thing. The thing is right now we see what's going on. We see the outcomes. It's deliberate, right? Let's accept that first, that this is taking place on purpose, right? By everyone involved, right? We were talking about the ring of Gyges and things like that. Understand, like I mentioned earlier, like, white people want their Second Amendment rights so bad, they'll accept that schools get shot up and it's okay with them, right? So whatever you think that black women are suffering from as a result of, their illogical reasoning, right? Because selfishness is not logical, right? What they want, they have their eyes set on that, and whatever they are going through is a casualty of war for them. Like it just comes with the territory and they accept it. So we could talk about the outcomes of their sons. We could talk about, even the dangers that they're dealing with. You understand, the molestations and all of that, the sexual assaults, and all the things that they're dealing with as a result of their choices. Number one, they get to blame all of that on other people. They get to dump all of that on other people. But we're in a culture that allows them to do that.
But right? this is what I want to say. You're right. But this is also what I want to say. Until black politics begins to critically evaluate black lesbian politics, we're going to continue to be in the fucking quagmire we in. So, and I would rather not have conversations with random ass black women about bullshit that they ain't going to change their mind about. I'd rather have the meta conversation with the so-called intellectuals and then move that conversation into the classroom and then let the conversation matriculate into popular culture. That's how I would do it. And I said that a long time. That's why I was trying to do fucking documentary. I don't even want to talk about it and discuss it. When I tried to get the fucking resources to do it, the first thing niggas start saying was, I'm trying to get rich. I'm trying to pull a BLM move or something. Basically, what you need to do is have the data square off face to face in front of the people who either going to have to make counter arguments, they're going to have to give a response. That's the shit you want. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna want books. You're gonna want journal articles. You're gonna want to have data to counter their arguments at a meta level. Then it can matriculate into the popular level.
Fact.
But having the conversations like with random women, it's necessary to some extent, but I don't think it's going to move the needle. And BGS is right. It is our job. It's the intellectual's job.
Yes, I agree with that.
But we had the arguments. It's the shits. This shit ain't gonna change because what you're seeing actually is the outcome of 40 to 50 years of cultural socialization.
Indoctrination, yeah.
That's what you're seeing. This, because black women wasn't talking like this in the fucking 80s. I mean, they might have had these attitudes to some extent, but this shit is on steroids now.
Yeah.
Because of the internet.
And then they refer back to this quack ass scholarship, which look, I don't have a problem with anybody writing or saying anything. Like, I think everyone should be able to write what they want. Okay? But at the same time, I do also feel that if you're a scholar, you should also, regardless as to the feelings, the emotive state of anyone, everything should be challenged as a form of research methodology. Everything should be challenged in the academy. Even black studies should be questioned. All of this shit should be questioned. Any theory should be subjected to falsification. It is what it is.
I do have a problem with some shit being written, though. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, but I think the most important thing, as Gorilla said, the ability to challenge it on an intellectual level. I think when we have these candid conversations and you can see the emotions and the illogical behaviors and the responses, that's when it becomes very destructive.
I hear you, but culture is not driven by intellectuals. It's driven by people, and people. A bunch of intellectual guys can sit in the room and have a discussion like what we're having now. That doesn't mean shit. It's really
I beg to differ though.
No, let me finish my point before you disagree with me. Okay, culture is driven by people. Okay, it's driven by people. All right, stupid motherfuckers actually, and there are more stupid motherfuckers on planet Earth. All right, than there are intellectuals. If you want to, like I told you earlier, if you want to get through to people, you got to speak the language. That's why I'm a fool on my channel, because you got to speak the language. Y'all niggas know I'm smarter than I pretend to be on the Keep It 100 channel. Okay, I talk the language of the motherfuckers that I'm trying to get to, and I'm not saying that my audience is unintelligent. The intelligent guys that listen to us, they already know what's up. They already know what's up. But you got to get the message out there in a way that is digestible for everyone. So we can talk academic and everything, but at the end of the day, a lot of times it turns people off. That's why when we're talking about Shaq and this and that and the other, they're not bothering with none of this shit that we're talking about.
But okay,
when you're talking to ignorant people, you got to speak the language. So when you're talking to those people, when I ain't talking about our audience, I'm talking about the motherfuckers that you want to affect. They don't give a fuck about all this intellectual shit.
But Marcus, you're missing my point. Here's what I'm saying. Okay, think about this, bro. The black culture was on some nation time shit in the 70s, 74. What time is it? It was nation time. You didn't hear shit about black feminism and black women being free until everybody else free.
You're past that.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, bro, I think you underestimate the fact that dumb motherfuckers are in college classrooms in a city near you, right? And I tried to explain to you about the Prussian school system. Like, these motherfuckers are imbibing ideology and they're being enculturated and indoctrinated in the school system.
Understood.
So what I'm trying to articulate is, see, I want to have the meta conversations so that eventually the meta conversations at the university do eventually filter into popular culture. They do.
You're not gonna get the universities.
I think we already got them. I think we're starting to get them. Because look, if you say a Stanford study, extensive data shows punishing reach of racism for black boys. You wouldn't have seen that shit 10 years ago.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, what I'm saying is I hear what you're saying. Again, these intellectuals that come, they do these peer studies and this, that, and the other. Half the time we show this to people, what they say. They challenge the shit, even if it's real. Bro, I've been doing this shit for a long time, fam. And you show them this real shit and they challenge that real shit with their feelings and their beliefs.
But you're talking about lay people though. This is how
it's the lay people that matter.
Marcus, this is what happens, bro. Let me tell you how this shit go down.
Okay.
And man, look, I understand what you're saying, but listen, this is how this shit goes down. Okay, it's taught in the classroom. Okay, then you get motherfuckers who start writing fiction in books like The Color Purple. They create movies and they create TV shows and they interpolate the ideology in popular culture. Okay, you teach the artists this shit and then they proliferate the shit into popular culture, and it just happens because that's what's being taught.
No,
that's what they're being indoctrinated with.
That I agree with. I feel like
so it's gonna take time. This shit ain't gonna happen overnight.
No, but I just said that media is more important than peer studies when it comes
to
the layman.
See,
people like us read peer studies. Regular people think that shit is boring. Okay,
no,
all the shit. This is now. I'm telling you, this is geek shit to them. Now, if you tell them some intellectual shit that stimulates or coincides with whatever their belief system is, they rock with it. But there's a cognitive dissonance when it comes to what their belief system is, even when it comes to peer studies, facts, data, and all of that shit. Again, I've been doing this shit since
Marcus. Why you think I got Marcus? Why you think I got bombs and gifts and all kind of other shit? Because I know niggas ain't gonna listen to me just being.
I get it.
They're not gonna do it, and I guarantee you, it ain't too many motherfuckers with a PhD who gonna come on social media and talk the way I talk.
I get it, but understand, Marcus. We're being right now. I'll go as far as to say, like, because I know some of the people in this chat. These are some smart guys listening to us talk. These are some smart guys. So yeah, you could drop bombs and everything, and I could make funny voices, but these are smart men listening to us. We're right now, we're preaching to the choir for the most part with some overlap. There's no think about this. Think about this. How many of the Sims and the women are in these discussions listening to understand?
Well,
they usually come to troll. They usually come to say, "Oh, your mama black and you're a misogynist and this and that and the third." Even when you're putting facts out, it doesn't even have to be insulting or derogatory in nature. It just has to be true. Period.
But let me say this,
I'm listening.
Let me say this, Marcus. I think what I think in this particular context where I disagree with you on is that because of these spaces that allow you, Gorilla, BGS, and other brothers to actually chime in, it actually spills over into popular culture.
Bro, you're saying what I said earlier. I'm not disagreeing with that part. I'm talking about the other stuff. I'm talking.
Well, let me just piggyback on it, right?
No, I just wanted to clarify that because you're throwing my point back at me, like I said something else.
No. So let me just piggyback. When it comes to, like you said, speak the language, I don't even think that's even necessary, because we're at a point where, especially when you look at the generations, right? I'm a millennial. I got younger dudes, the Gen Zs. They are actually chiming into these conversations. There are more Gen Zs that come up to me and ask me questions more about these social economic situations in the Black community, especially with Black women, which I would never thought would ever, come into existence. But because of these type of spaces behind closed doors, as Gorilla said, because of the indoctrination of just education system in America, a lot of males are starting to break away and say, I need to be more critical.
Bro, you're saying what? See, this is the thing that's bothering me about what you're saying. Not that it's not true, but is that you're presenting it to me like I said something that contradicts it. A second ago, I said exactly what you're saying. So I want to clarify to you that I didn't say anything in opposition to what you're saying. Of course, these spaces, the shit that we're doing right now is important. I just said that boys are going to listen to us and they're going to hear it, and it's going to become culture over time. What I'm talking about is, a bunch of smart intellectual motherfuckers sitting smoking pipes in the room talking about this stuff, and then like that's going to induce change. What I'm saying is what we're doing right now, this is media. And of course, even though it's not mainstream media, it's social media, and motherfuckers get social with media.
So Pete, what I'm saying though, This is what I'm saying, Marcus. Okay? I love having these conversations. I do. Okay? But I'm not about to have, like these, like, okay, I'm not saying I'm too good to have a conversation with a lay person about anything. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
but I'll be goddamn if I'm gonna sit here and argue with a motherfucker that already got their mind made up about some bullshit. And kicking rhetoric to me that I know more than they know.
Mm.
I'm not about to fucking do that. Because it's not gonna move the needle and move this shit into policy. What's gonna move the shit what's gonna move it into policy is actual data and research. Now, I mean, the audience, it has to be lay people. It has to be. The shit has to reach them at some point. And I'm gonna continue to spit the shit, but I want to be able to spit some shit, some actual factuals predicated upon research. Like, I can't do what I do without being able to say, okay, look, here's the data from the research I've done on the research that already has been done. Now, I know for a fact, most motherfuckers are going to be put off by sterile logical syllogism. It's not titillating enough for them. It's not exciting. It's not tantalizing. And even black men love a lot of argument and bullshit. A lot of fucking, spectacle and fucking theatrics and shit. I don't mind it, but there's a point where I gotta cut it off. You understand what I'm saying? So
I get it, and just a Black Renaissance podcast. What am I contradicting? Because I just told these men that they're saying what I'm saying right now.
No, you're cool, man, bro. Let's not extend it because it's a misunderstanding.
I'm gonna get off of that. Check it out. Because now I'm addressing you. You guys are echoing what I said, right? I'm not saying that intellectuals should not speak or they should not have these studies and things like that, because these are the things that we draw from to have these discussions, right? What I'm saying is what's going to make the change happen is what we're doing. So it doesn't end at because somebody's saying, oh, well, intellectuals need to do this and this and this. Just that by itself, like someone said, it goes hand in hand. That's what I'm saying. Right.
Well, I'm saying the same thing you saying. I'm saying because
then we stuck in miscommunication. Then
right. We got semantic noise going on.
Yeah, that's all. So all this, he's a contrarian. Get out of here, man.
Man, don't look at the chat anymore. You're banned from looking at the chat.
What am I disagreeing with?
I'm gonna cut the fucking chat off. I'm about to cut the chat off for all the participants.
Like I'm making an opposing argument. Like y'all niggas is wrong.
So like I said before, my analogy is the chess analogy. You got kings, queens, knights, bishops, rooks, and pawns on the fucking table. My whole thing is I want to play on to play the game of chess, you have to observe the entire board. I'm not just looking at one part of the board, but I know the movements are going to be intellectual from the beginning for me. Okay, that's just like my personal thing is I'm going to think my way through this first. Then I'm going to come out and create a spectacle in order to draw attention to the issues, make it somewhat humorous. Sometimes I'm going to be profane because profanity holds people's attention. But I mean, in essence, what I want to get people to do is what any good philosopher should be able to get people to do is to rethink their position. Even within the space, I have, differences of opinion with people. But what I know is, though, there are some fundamental key differences. Like, if you have the idea that black men are dirt bags and bullet bags and they need to, or that you looking for a high value man and you fucking got 3 kids and your ass is 180 pounds and you're going to find one, I'm not fucking talking to you. I'm not having a conversation with you to try to convince you of what you need to do. I'm not life coaching you, none of that shit. Because to be quite frank, I don't think we can change their opinion. I think you can change the conditions in which their opinions arise and then change their behavior. That's what I think can happen. But right now, man, bruh, I hate to say it, man. I be. Look, man. Put it this way. Fuck these bitches, man. Because these bitches don't give a fuck about you. They'll call the police on you in a minute. I mean, you can even get one to agree with you, but that same bitch will fuck around and do the same shit she said she wasn't gonna do. So I done seen it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a good one. I'm a faithful lady, and I don't believe it. Next thing you know, this bitch starting some drama, getting all into some bullshit, and doing the same shit she said she wouldn't do. Cause a motherfucker, like what's the bitch name? I don't even want to call her bitch because I think she a cool motherfucker. But the chick that be like talking, she got a rough voice and she be telling bitches, look at bitch, you're not relevant enough. You're not relevant enough.
Oh my God.
That's Love Dorsey.
Love Dorsey. Yeah. Love Dorsey. Love Dorsey.
When you first meeting with a motherfucking woman, you meeting a representative. That ain't who that bitch is for real. You're meeting a representative. So at the end of the day, man, look, I got an avatar. I'm saying straight out of my motherfucking mouth what I think. I don't have to worry about backlash coming to me on account of it. I'm saying exactly what I think without any reservations. Now, when it comes to a point where, I feel like I want to show my face, I'll show my fucking face. But at the end of the day, all I'm doing is the argument is what should hold sway. Not the rhetoric itself, but the argument, especially amongst men who claim to be logical. And women who claim to be logical as well, because what's the purpose of being educated if you're not applying logic in your education, in the process of you accumulating information?
You're not going to get logic from illogical women and men chasing pussy.
I mean, yeah, but I think that's always going to be there. I think the key factors is, okay, the men that are, how do we just grow from there?
Oh, absolutely. So that's why I say from earlier, I say, okay, we have to come from at this from a context of this thing is happening on purpose. Fuck reasoning with anyone. This thing is happening on purpose, right? It's just imagine like the religious people of Germany, and I'm saying that for the algorithm. Right, the religious people of Germany talking to the SS like, I don't understand why this is happening. I mean, there's gas in this room. We can't breathe. Like, why would you not want us to breathe?
I get it. Yeah, I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
Not a reason. Like, no, what I'm saying is, we have to come from a context of, this is an enemy. This is an enemy doing this to us. This is an enemy doing this, and now. How do we approach it that way as opposed to, hey, don't you want what we want? And if you did it this way, we'd be better off. See, you're trying to reason. And that's the problem. The problem that I have, I'm going to say this and I'm going to put a period on the sentence. The problem that I have with black men in these conversations sometimes is that we speak about this as if like we can reason and find some sort of middle ground with these people. All right. I hope I don't sound like a contrarian when I say this shit, but I'm just saying like we it sounds like we're trying to convince them that there's a better way when that better way is not their objective. Well, right. So we got to approach this like this is an enemy who doesn't want us to win. How do we win against this enemy? Period.
Well, I'll say this, and I was going to pose this question to the panel. I do agree with you, right? And I think this is why, and Gorilla could probably elaborate more. The reason why we had a huge division back then with the talented 10th amongst Black society, and I think that has to be imposed now with the Black intellectual males in this modern day time, right? Because the way I see things is that we're having a separatist ideology, which is destined anyway, right? So moving forward, there has to be like key points where I think men who are in this intellectual space, who are very active, have to really put some, just put some I won't say this correctly, but basically put your hands up and let people know like this is how we move. And if you can't accept it, then you can't be associated with it.
That's why SBM. Yes.
So peep game. What I would like for I want to hear from Herb Saint, Mr. Z, and Roaring Son, because we kind of dominated the conversation and went on a tangent.
Mr. Z, what up?
What's going on, y'all?
What's happening? What Herb saying that little daddy? What's happening, little Woody? You there? He ain't there.
Oh, what's up, man?
What's up, little Woody? What's going on, little daddy, nephew? My nigga, my nerd, my jelly preserve. What's happening?
This is sounding very New Orleans right now.
Because I went to school there. I was raised there for real too, though. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, GG. I wanted to report to you, brother, because you do have a relationship with New Orleans, which is a concentrated black community. There's a radio station down here, man, that's black owned. It's owned by Wendell Pierce. And one of the co-hosts on the show is a councilman that was reelected. He was he was jailed previously some years back for some corruption scandal that was BS, but he came back strong. But on his show, right, he's talking about he's governing the district right now. He's a newly reelected, and he's governing a district in the eastern part of the city that has been besieged by rapid gentrification and pushing poor black people out to that part of the city. So now you got a crime wave, like all parts of the city, right? But now they're facing an issue. He's like, what do I do? How do I tackle this? And I'm proud to tell you, brother, that he spoke. And when he said that we have to focus on our black boys, man, I have to say I was proud, man. And and the message is getting on the ground level, is getting to the lay people, but it's getting filtered through our local legislators. That's where the pressure has to come. I called in, I thanked him for his work. Now there was some pushback, and there were callers that called in that changed the subject completely. But that's when we target that, that's how we're going to get the lay people to see what the issue is and how we can target it. Because I'm gonna tell you, man, we've thrown everything to black girls here in the city, man. Housing, food, everything, dude. We just elected our first black mayor at 300 years, female.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that they're seeing that, okay, we've thrown everything, and we still having these issues. And men are coming to the forefront and standing up. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to see the progress in these concentrated black poverty locations, Baltimore, New Orleans, Chicago. That's where the work is going to be happening. And that's where you're going to see it on a ground level. And I'm glad to report to you, brother, that it's happening.
Well, hey, word up, Woody. You know what I'm saying? Pass a good one. You feel me? Pass a good day.
You already know it. You already know it.
Hey, look. I gotta fuck with my my nigga, my nerd, you know what I'm saying, nephew, when he come on through. But so look, one thing I will say about the manosphere that I think is positive is it enables men to have a voice where they think that they didn't have a voice before. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, okay, now I'm over not being able to say what it is that I think, like because of fear of backlash and not having good talking points. At least, in this space, men are beginning to be able to develop a voice. You know what I'm saying? So, and of course, a lot of brothers here are intellectuals, so it will proliferate. Okay, I just wanted to proliferate and percolate and trickle and continue to trickle. So I'm playing my little part. I consider myself to be a bishop or a knight. You know what I'm saying? Doing the best I can. I ain't a queen or a king, you know what I'm saying? But, I'm doing the best I can. And I mean that in terms of chess pieces, not in terms of being male or female. Just in terms of being a powerful piece on the board. I ain't no rook, but, I feel like I'm at least a knight or a bishop doing the best I can in order to try to win the game, But it's a long game. It ain't a quick game. And, it's going to require a lot of moving parts. And so, I'm just doing the best I can, but the one thing that I'm finding is that most of these academicians, especially the feminist ones, man, they don't want to have a conversation in a public forum. They don't want to talk to us. They're not saying shit. They're not having the debates. At least in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, the debates were on the table. Now these motherfuckers just using Twitter and social media to just basically keep pushing their propaganda through
To
echo
circumvent
chambers.
the actual facts.
And then, to castigate people and say they're canceled and to create, censorship and shit like that. To me, that's bullshit. But that's why I use jarring speech to begin with. I'm like, you want to be like jarring in the way you talk? And because these women was like, kill me now, ask me how. Like, that's just like saying, nigga, fuck your life. But you want us to have respect for yours. You understand what I'm saying? The shit don't work like that. I don't move like that. If it's fuck me, it's fuck you. 8 to 80, blind, crippled, crazy, straight, gay, trans, or cisgender, whatever the fuck. I don't care. If it's fuck me, it's fuck you. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm anybody killer. Like them niggas from Cali said back in the days when rap was the thing. The West Coast shit was popping off. Anybody killer. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we need to be having these conversations. We should be having them with other people, especially if they are open-minded. But some people don't come here like they just want to troll, like Marcus said at the beginning, man. Before we went on this tangent. But ultimately, man, I wanted to have this show. We get at the 3-hour mark, man. I'm hungry as fuck, literally.
Yep.
I'm ready to eat. I just, I did a bike ride like this afternoon, and that shit has me exhausted. Going up and down hills and shit, and I almost felt like I was about to pass out one time. But you gotta exercise the cardiovascular, man. Lose it or use it. I mean, use it or lose it. You don't stay. Keep your body up. It'll keep you down. So, but I mean, all I want to do is have this show in order to demonstrate that black boys have unique circumstances that require attention with policy and with a change in attitude and understanding and values. If you think that your son needs to get it out of the mud and your daughter needs to have it made because you love her, you're going to have tough love for your son, but you're just going to, make sure your daughter's set up. If you care about your own fucking success of your own progeny and you don't want to see a fortune squandered, fucking educate your sons, man. Give them extra special care and attention. And, you ain't got to coddle the motherfuckers, but you have to allow them to explore in ways that your daughters don't. And you have to approach their education in ways that you can't give your daughter. Like formal educational processes shouldn't be the metric by which you determine the worthiness of your son to be deemed responsible and to have some sense of achievement in your eyes. Because like even what's the name of the Kerner Commission? They came out and said, most of the kids in the hood that was causing the riots and shit like that, it wasn't kids that were like, who had gone through the educational system like I'm talking about, like the artsy fartsy guys or whatever. It was the guys who were more intelligent, had higher intelligence quotients, who dropped out of high school. They had a better understanding of the political predicament that their demographic was in than the average college student. You know what I'm saying? And they were the ones causing all the fucking problems on the ground. And white folks know this. They not stupid, man. They understand counterinsurgency measures and everything. They've been working at this shit for years. So they know how to perform psy-ops and counterinsurgency ops on their own population. They know how to do that with no problem. They got handbooks written on the shit. And I also did a show about the Trilateral Commission and how they subverted education and changed the nature of it, especially higher education in the 70s. They basically came to the conclusion that, kids who were undergoing the educational processes in the 60s and the 70s, they were getting too high of a quality of education. And it wasn't steered towards careerism as much as it was, orientated towards justice and shit like that. And being, critical thinking, being critical thinkers. And so they were like, fuck this, we got to change the nature of higher education. Now it's become more bureaucratic and corporatized. And it was on purpose. It was intentional. So, yeah, I mean, things are being done to us intentionally. I just hate to see black people do what white folks plan for us. I hate to see them take up the tack and the strategy of white folks unwittingly thinking they're actually working in the service of justice. I hate to see that. You know, to me it's dumb. I think they need to be smarter, you know, be wiser, be brighter. That's my viewpoint on it, man. But I'm gonna let some closing remarks come out of you guys. Please keep it brief so I can get the fuck up out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm hungry as hell.
I guess I'll go first. You know, so the change is happening. This is I think the change is happening so fast. It's one of the quotes. The general is always fighting the last war. So what we see from Shaq, what we see from a lot of other talking heads, shout out to Michael Eric Dyson, oh bum ass. What we hear from a lot of people that get off on chastising black men and couching it as constructive criticism when it's really just you placating black women rhetorically. They're the old guard, and their sons and their grandsons, for the most part, aren't gonna be those people, right? And I think the Shaqs of the world, the Baracks of the world, going to Morehouse and lecturing those black boys about what they need to do, right, when they're graduating college, you know, commencement speech, which is a really good indication that you're doing what you need to do. You know, yeah. So all of those people are the old guard. That's coming to an end, and the political establishment, women in general, black women specifically, are going to be in a world of hurt, right? All the helping them out is they're gonna run into the hard, cold wall that the numbers just don't add up. The math ain't mathing. You know, me and Green Gorilla have spoken about this. You elevate the women to a point where it's like 20 dudes and like 100 women with PhDs. How that's gonna work? Right? So like, you know, I think they're gonna run into the wall that the numbers just don't add up. And have fun, right? Sharing dudes. So you know, that's pretty much for me. You know, this is not going to work for them in the long run, and quite frankly, I don't think it's going to even take all of that. Young men especially, just with their apathy and them sitting on their hands, are putting a hurting to the system and to women. And you know, this is going to be a very interesting next couple of decades. As you can see, white dudes are already making the move for abortions, to ban abortion. So you know, men in general, yeah, they're not with the BS anymore, and we're going to see where that leads in the next couple of decades, and that's all I got.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for your analysis, Mr. Z. I wish you was here a little earlier, but you know, it's all to the good, man. I'll holler at you at the next
work, one. Man. Double shift, man.
I feel you, dog. I feel you. You got to make that paper, dog, that paper. All right, man. Bless up, man. Holler at you at the next one, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Roaring Sun, man. Kick some facts to us, man. You ain't said very much since you've been here, man. Speak to us.
Well, I just hopped on because I had something in my spirit when y'all brothers were cooking. I was letting y'all cook because it was. I felt like I was getting the Holy Spirit through y'all, man. Thanks for preaching tonight. I really appreciated the data. I actually do look at some of these things. I actually have it on my tab right now, so I'm gonna read it. I was also reading some stuff on Black fathers earlier today as well, so I got some of that on my list, and I'm gonna go through that. So I just wanted. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Now, I'm glad to be able to direct you to the studies if you want to look at them. You know what I'm saying? Especially those people who want to look at them. Because I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna do the what's you got Richard Sherman, and then you got Buddy Love. I'm gonna Buddy Love you to death. You understand? Because that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put it in rich dummy terms. I ain't gonna speak in all the highfalutin language. I'm gonna be gutter. I'm Hulk smash. You understand what I'm saying when it comes to this? Because I believe, you know, we can articulate these ideas in plain language. At times I do have to refer back to the literature in order to stymie the source of this shit. You understand what I'm saying? So that's it, man.
You got to do that.
Love, man. Much love, and much peace and prosperity to you, my brother.
Yeah.
Be one.
Have a good one.
Peace. My man Marcus, man, you know, hey man, I'm so glad that you came and decided to make a pit stop to the Green Gorilla channel. You always welcome, man. Whether we agree or disagree, whether we got semantic noise or not. Come on, nigga, if you don't get no bigger, I figure. So, you know, it is what it is, man. We hit it off from day one, you know what I'm saying? Even through whatever we was talking about, we became cool as motherfuckers. So, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing gonna break shake that. So,
no doubt.
You know, but yeah, man. Kick some actual factuals on the outlet, and then I'm about to wrap this shit up, you know, like a burger, you know what I'm saying? For Whataburger.
So earlier it was said, Marcus, you're sitting with intellectuals now. Motherfucker, I am an intellectual. Okay? All right, so let me address that first. All right, 'cause you're like, you don't have to have a degree to be an intellectual, motherfucker. I don't have a PhD, and I'm an intellectual. Let's start there first, right?
Sir.
As I've been saying, earlier, when you mentioned, about black women are not, in this day and age, allowing like men to be part of these discussions, and they on the internet doing this. I don't expect my enemy to play fair. And that's the way I look at this. I look at it that way. I don't look at I don't negotiate with terrorists. Okay? This is not something that I'm trying to look at. I don't look at them as they're doing it unwittingly. No, they're doing it wittingly. I have to accept that truth first and then act, right?
Yes, sir.
I think a lot of us are unwilling to accept that part of it. They're unwilling to accept that these women are doing this on purpose. Any attempt to progress black men or to get the foot off their back is quickly shut down by this group of people. Blatantly.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut the shit down. Yeah,
whether it be, a black man giving a bunch of, black men tuition, or a documentary created to, change the image of black men in the eyes of America or even the world. The first group that makes the most noise when a man tries to build a school for black boys is black women. They're the ones in the way. And we're trying to still come from a place of maybe they don't understand what this is doing to boys. They do. They understand what it's doing for boys. What they may or may not understand is what it's doing to them, but they don't care. I want people to envision, and I want to leave people with this image in their head. You ever seen a picture of a snake eating itself?
Yeah.
The snake is eating itself. It thinks it's delicious. And then it's wait, oh shit, I'm eating myself. So all this lesbian shit and all, the sister and the Suge Avery and all of this stuff we're talking about with the black literacy and poverty of black boys and this and that, and the pushing up of the educations of black women to be single and dying alone with cats, and winter is here and all. They're good with it all. They're good with it all. Just like I said, the Second Amendment rights people are good with the school shootings. Hey, Second Amendment rights people, why don't we just get rid of assault weapons? Not handguns, not shotguns, but assault weapons. My rights are more important than the kids getting shot. And that is the approach of black women. We have to approach this like that. And all these guys that I see, whether it's the chat or anywhere else, talking about what they're afraid of is the breeding out of the black gene and the breeding out of black people and all this other nonsense, and 3 generations to breed out. It would take a concentrated effort of black people, not only just men and women, to only exclusively fuck with people out of the race, and for that offspring to do the same continuously for 3 generations. That's not going to happen. No disrespect, Stuart D. No disrespect, Stuart D, because I'm quoting you. Right? That's not going to happen. And aside from that, black American women aren't holding any trademark or monopoly on blackness. Okay? So do what you do. Suffer fools if you'd like to, or save yourself, black man, from your enemy, who is not hiding, is speaking to you in plain English and is showing their face while they're doing it. Accept that that's your enemy, and either fight a war or retreat to better geographical locations, mental locations, whatever. Save yourself. I'm going to save myself. I can't make you do it too. And I can't save you. All I can do is tell you the truth. All I can do is keep it 100. And you take that and do what you will with it. This has been Marcus Aurelius. I'm here with the Green Gorilla, the G with the PhD. This week, this Saturday, I'm doing a video called Protect Yourself at All Times on my channel. Fuck with me, because I will be keeping it 100. And I appreciate you, brother, for having me on here to talk to these niggas. Somebody talk to these niggas.
Hey, man, you know, say.
All right.
Hey, man, thank you for coming through, bro. Appreciate your presence, man.
Most def, man. Most def.
So, you know, at the end of the day, bro, you know, it is what it is, man. I'm so happy to be able to give you whatever information I can and to give you my assessment and my perspective. Don't give a fuck if it's popular or perceived as toxic or not. So, at the end of the day, man, keep your heads up, man. And like, you know, Marcus say, man, and just like, you know, the referees say during these motherfucking prize fights, protect yourself at all times. I'll holler at you motherfuckers later, man. Peace out, man.
Peace.
Peace out to you Negroes, man.